And live. Hello.
I was waiting on you.
I said we're live. I said hello.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you got this. I believe in you.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Morning Ritual, our TTRPG talk show. Because Nora's left me high and dry. Oh,
fucking wow. Just that less than 5 minutes you throw me under the bus.
I will say
to
that...
be fair, there was like a bad case of the giggles going on, so...
There was.
Yeah, there was a truly hilarious story that I might have told the public, but I'm not going to now.
I'm going to say that to be fair, like...
To be fair,
it's okay that you threw me under the bus because I have done that to you plenty of times.
When did I didn't throw you under the bus.
Left me high and dry.
When?
Just now, when I had to do the intro by myself.
You the host
you
of
said
the
hi.
show.
I think you may have said good morning.
I did.
Yeah. Also hi. My favorite thing about this show is that no matter who we have on, it always starts like a clusterfuck. Like, that is my favorite thing. If we ever get to the point where we start and we're professional, let's wrap it up, baby, because we're done. We're jaded. We gotta struggle our way together, host and guest, into a coherent show. You're basically waking up with us, audience, because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Hi, I'm the other host. No, I almost said my government name. That's how tired I am. We're waking up, though. I got my coffee, I got my tea, and I got my Kool-Aid. Let's get it.
Perfect.
Speaking of tea, I didn't finish introducing myself.
It's okay, I never even did. I just said hello, good morning, welcome to Morning Ritual. I didn't say my
Holy
name.
Shit! You talk about me throwing you under the bus, you didn't even say your name yet. You didn't even finish your introduction. You stopped your introduction to accuse me of leaving you alone. That's why I didn't think you were finished. You didn't even say your name.
This is my favorite appearance already.
I'm one of your hosts, Anita. My pronouns are she, they. Down to you.
You didn't even give me the down to you originally. You just wanted to accuse me. Hi, I'm Noir, your other host. And today we have a very special guest. Friday. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and also, hey, look, I've got some Friday's tea.
Which one? Oh, is it the TTRPG?
Yep. It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, that one is very fun.
I'm ashamed to tell you how I made it, though.
No,
You'll probably yell at me.
Do it. I want to know.
I've got one of the empty Keurig things.
Yeah, you did.
And I got Keurig the tea. It's so
yeah,
good.
You did. Now, let me tell you why that is 100% fine. Are you enjoying your tea?
Okay, yeah, I am.
You did it right. There you go. Boom. That's it. You did it right.
That's what's up. You see,
That's it.
Some people on this show are nice to me.
I am like a literal human Care Bear, so there was a pretty good chance I was going to be nice to you. Also, there is so much bullshit snobbery in my industry, and for what,
I was
tea is
really
a beverage about connection. Why would I snob at you?
I
was really afraid to tell you how I was making it.
I don't give a shit. If you like it, you're doing it right. That's basically my motto in my industry. I am a longtime tea professional. Tea is literally all I've been doing with my entire adult life. I've been in the industry since I was 17. So I'm highly qualified to tell you that if you like it, you're doing it right, and everyone else can suck it.
You put glitter in my body.
And I'll do it again. Oh, anyway, hi, I'm Friday. Good morning.
Here's the guest.
You started to, but we were talking about tea. There was glitter involved and raspberries and teapot sprinkles.
Thank you. See
So,
that's the second shot you bucked at me today. Anita's
like,
coming
I'm not
for blood.
shy. I'll introduce my own self. I don't really care. Bye.
You take your shame walk. You take it.
Yeah, I'm Friday. Use pronouns, whatever. She, her, or in Spanish speaking context, ella. And I make tea and drink tea and want to be best friends with the whole world. And that's my whole bio.
That's awesome. Oh, so I just off the rip, I have to ask, how does one become a tea professional, and how did you kind of marry that with TTRPG? Like I am excited to hear this journey.
Well, there are witches and Star Trek conventions and neuroscience involved in this story.
It's almost all my favorite things.
True fact. So how a person gets involved in the tea industry is basically like all-consuming obsession and just deciding that you want to. The tea industry is a very low barrier of entry because everyone just wants to geek with everyone else about how cool plants are. So like basically, if you are friendly and you want to drink a lot of tea, I like this jacket situation very much.
You said Star Trek, so I had to respect it.
I did, yes. I appreciate that, Captain. Yeah, so I had a really good cup of tea when I was 17, and I was like, uh-oh, that's what I'm doing with my life. Pretty much. And then I just, I get like obsessed with things when I'm interested in a thing. I'm like, I have to learn everything about this. Like one time I thought maybe I would like backyard chickens, and now I know about like 17 different chicken diseases and how to build 3 different kinds of coops just off the top of my head. Like, and that was years ago, and I still have that in there. I nerd real hard, real fast. I'm a very passionate person. And so I had a really good cup of tea at 17 years old. And that's all I've done with my life since. It was a golden monkey black tea, for the record, which is a golden tip cultivar popular in more mountainous regions of Fuji and China. And it tastes like, it tastes almost like moonlight on like a pond that has a lot of brown algae in it, but in a sweet, beautiful way. It tastes like how looking at that would taste. And also a little bit like honey.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, so that's how I got into tea.
That's something that you forgot to mention, is that you also are synesthetic.
Oh yeah, I'm bringing the neuroscience into this story.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's one of the connecting factors. So that's how I got into tea. But going backwards to other plants, I was raised by druidic herbalists on a pagan spiritual retreat in the redwoods of Central California. So my grandmother was an herbalist and my grandfather was a wizard, literal wizard. By which I mean, he was a student and a practitioner and a multi-generational inheritor of Irish druidic witchcraft practices, but he also studied under a Hopi shaman and incorporated some of those practices into his own healing arts, but was like, I'm not Hopi, so I don't want to call myself by their titles. So wizard, I can claim. I could say that. So the man was a wizard. And so he taught me also all of his healing practices, which involved a lot of plants and like astral projection shit. So like pretty dope. And that was my childhood. My parents did meet in Star Trek Club in high school. That's a true story. I was raised at Star Trek conventions. One of my biggest geek flexes is I can paint my whole body green top to bottom with no streaking in under 15 minutes, which is pretty badass. So this is where I come from. This is my childhood story right there. And then I had a really good tea one time and I was like, I'm just going to do that. But my grandmother taught me all of her, herbal medicine, my whole childhood. So I come from a background of herbalism, like inherited, heritage herbalism on a farm in the woods. And then one time a friend who owned a steampunk bookstore around Seattle, a couple of years after, no, it's the same year, just time is a lot. The same year I opened my tea company in 2010, he said, I'm hosting like a dark Alice in Wonderland tea party at my steampunk bookstore. Could you make a tea that like goes with that. And I was like, well, duh, all those things already taste like things anyway, because I have lexical gustatory synesthesia, which means that my brain is wired in such a way that I literally taste every word and feeling and thought and abstract concept. So
that is
yeah. So that was my first fandom tea. I was like, yeah, I'll make some teas that taste like Alice in Wonderland characters and settings. And since that's all just right in there anyway, and I was a professional chef for 15 years, I was a sommelier, a craft bartender. I do interface with the world through the medium of flavor. So it's really easy for me to just dial in a concept and access the complex flavor profile, just like I'm eating anything, and then pick it apart, analyze the profile, find real world analogs that are safe to ingest and blend them into a tea.
I just want to ask you all day what movies taste like.
Yeah, I get that a lot. So any of our fandom teas that we carry at the tea shop that I've blended now lately, the last couple of years, my amazing crew has also gotten really into blending. So there are now a few teas and a few collections that I didn't do. So they're not made with the, synesthesia filter, but they're still like so awesome. My buddy Greg at work has a whole collection of dinosaur pun teas. I was just drinking some Brontosaurus last night.
God, that hurt me. That physically hurt my body.
Yeah, the Velociraptor is another good one he made. It's a yerba mate with ginger and hibiscus. So it's like bitey in flavor and it bleeds visually when you brew it. And it's like really caffeinated.
I'm mad, that's awesome, but the pun just
Totally. So like we got that kind of thing going on, but any of the ones that I blend are literally how that idea tastes, as close as I can get it in a tea. And I do a lot of food science stuff, like rate of extraction of different densities of materials. So like we have our Sailor Moon inspired tea, which is called Moon Princess. This is such deep geek. It's a tea Kuan Yin oolong with strawberry and elderflower and has little rainbow sugar stars in it. It's so cute. And it's designed so that the flavors that come out at each different infusion, because oolongs are designed to steep the same leaves over and over, and the flavor kind of evolves over multiple infusions. And that's what
So you can get all the Sailor Moon forms?
Yes. I took my time and I made it so each infusion tastes like the next level up. I was like, get that sparkly costume change in there, weapons level ups. So yeah, every infusion of that one tastes chronologically like the next Sailor Moon form. That's my actual grown-up job. Somebody let me have. I don't know.
That's the dream though. It feels like you are perfectly placed for what you ended up doing. And that's not to take away any of the work that you did, but it's just like, oh my God, this origin story makes so much sense.
Yeah. And honestly, it wasn't a real job. I invented it and then I stubborned it out. I was honestly so I was putting myself through school, raising a toddler by myself, working full-time, running a restaurant when I started this company. And it was my after
raising
hours,
a toddler.
It's a lot. So I've raised this company and also my actual human child kind of side by side. My kid thinks of the tea company as like a sibling, which is so cute and also like really weird.
That's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
We've got a chat question from Nikki. Important question. If Critical Misses had a tea blend, what would it have in it?
Mm-hmm. All right. You do a lot of stuff on this channel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a tricky one to do because I feel like there are a lot of different potential sources for profiles that I could pull from. If we're going for, I think the most obvious thing is overall aesthetic, right? Like brand aesthetic. So I'm thinking a white tea. I think you'd have to have, okay, got it. So y'all would have to have.
Did you see how fast that was? I'm sorry.
I'm a professional.
I watched the computer go and it was just like ching.
Yeah, this is what I do. So what it would have to be would be this. There's a specific farm in Darjeeling, entirely women owned. They're all actual literal tea witches, and they have a silver needle white tea that they only pick on full moons. So I think we start there, right? Because there's something about your aesthetic that is so like smooth and like you've got a lot of cool pastel tones, but you also have a lot of really nice dark hues and very rich golds and reds and things that you pull in just as little accents. So I'm really, really feeling for your overall aesthetic. This specific full moon tea witch picked biodynamic small farm Darjeeling silver needle. And then I think I would have to blend it with just like a touch of this specific Colombian black tea that is so smooth and has all these gorgeous floral notes. Like it tastes the way peonies look, you know, all the like the ruffle and the cool soft texture of it. But it's, you know, a black tea, a very soft one. So I think a touch of that with the silver needle, which is already very controversial because silver needle is so delicate, but I think we should go for it. And then who else goes in there? I think you need, it's a tamarind, but it's a candied tamarind, so it doesn't go too sharp on us, and just like the thinnest little shavings of candied tamarind. And maybe glitter for fun. Yeah.
Okay,
I think that's what I got. Yeah.
Anita, I guess we were gonna stick with your aesthetic. I was trying to get the critical misses aesthetic to be changed to a shark riding a motorcycle, doing a backflip and shooting 2 Tommy guns, but
that's fucking cool as hell.
Right? But I guess we'll just stick with what we got here. Whatever.
Yeah, that'd be a whole other tea, and it would be dank. By which I mean cave aged and funky and like a little fishy. Yeah.
I have to ask, you're a tea expert. Are there teas that get you high?
Yes. Okay. So tea drunk is a thing. I think it depends on what you mean. Are you talking about psychoactive, or are you talking about like a physiological, like kind of out of body experience?
I mean, yes.
Yeah. Great. Excellent. So definitely putting wormwood in tea is not an unheard of practice. So basically absinthe but tea is a real thing that has happened in this world. Mushroom tea is obviously a thing. Like, you know, yeah. And then because I do own a leaf shop based in Seattle, every day of my life, people come in and ask what kind of pot we have. They think it's a pot shop. They're like, you're my new bud tender. And I'm like, sure, but not like that. I don't have the licenses. But like medicated, like, cannabis tea is very much a thing. So I don't deal in any of those ones because, again, licenses and permits, and it just seems like a whole thing. However, the like body high, kind of out of body experience, kind of a tea, definitely we do that. And that's something that we call tea drunk. And there's a chemical compound in tea that is sort of a combination of like polyphenols and caffeine and a couple of other like little amino acids in there that like relaxes and warms your muscles to such a degree that you get like really flush and a little bit lightheaded and all your muscles relax and it feels like an out of body experience. And like you can get dizzy when you stand up. And that's very common, particularly in pu'ers and other aged teas or in certain styles of oolong processing. So yeah, like I have a ginseng oolong that fucks me up. Yeah, and there's definitely a couple of pu'ers that we carry that like really fuck me up, and I just gotta like be careful, make sure I have like my emergency salmon on hand for some protein, which is a very Seattle thing to say, I recognize, but that's what I was snacking on before I came on. Emergency salmon.
Can't do it. So I have to ask, have you made a tea based on you?
No. Oh, I'm the only thing I can't taste. I'm a void. Look, I'm a walking existential crisis for this reason.
So sorry.
I mean, why would that be true? I don't know. But anytime I think about myself or I talk about myself, there's just nothing there. So I've genuinely had times in my life where I'm not sure I exist. But that's okay, because like, whatever, I was raised by hippies, so I've got a lot of the like, yeah, man, whatever, like follow your bliss, like it's cool. Yeah. Reality is subjective anyway, so if I don't really exist, like at least I'm having a real good time about it,
That's what I was trying to tell the cops, and he's just like, "You're still getting a ticket." I'm like, "Oh, fuck you."
Like, okay, but see, reality is subjective.
Open your third eye, officer.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I cannot. I do a lot of like wedding teas, right? A lot of engaged couples come to me, and I make a tea that is a flavor Venn diagram of their personalities and where they intersect. And it's a very popular like wedding favor or like wedding party gift. And sorry about that noise. That's my kettle. I needed more tea.
On brand. I don't have the same kettle.
You have a Keurig. Which works. We've established it's fun. Yeah. Oh yeah. So wedding teas are a very popular part of my business. I do custom tea blending. People come in, we talk, I taste their personalities and the way they talk to each other, the way they look at each other, and I make a tea about that. And it's my favorite thing because, as discussed, I'm a literal human Care Bear, and other people being in love and treating each other well is my favorite thing in the world. And I just feel so like honored to get to be a part of it at all and to get to like celebrate that through flavor, which is my primary language. And so I got married a couple months ago. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks. I will always refer to him as Dr. Boyfriend. I don't care. That's his nickname on the internet. And we got married and everyone was like, you have to upgrade him to Dr. Husband. I was like, I will not do that now. Dr. Boyfriend is his name. My husband, Dr. Boyfriend, Dr. and Mrs. Boyfriend. So that's what we're working with. But yeah, so I got married recently, and I think it was over on TikTok. I've got a very enthusiastic following on TikTok that's like really into how weird my brain is. And they were like, "Oh, you get to make your own wedding tea now." And I was like, I'm literally the one person on earth I cannot do that for. I can make a tea about him. But instead we ended up doing a small farm like that we really, really love, farmer that we just adore. And we got cakes of tea that were aged from the year that we met. So we just went with the pure small farm, just like good tea route.
So romantic.
I know.
Cut it out, guy.
Never. You brought a sap on the show.
It's disgusting. I hate it. No. So you do a lot of work with wedding couples, and for a time there, I spent time doing the freelance musician thing, and so I did a lot of weddings as well. And I have to ask, I mean, be honest, doesn't working for weddings kind of suck a little bit?
Woof.
There it is. There.
Yeah. Which I already know because for a while I was a professional wedding cake baker, which is the most stressful job on the planet possibly. It was terrible. No. It was terrible. And I was a private chef, and I have catered weddings like solo, like fantasy, like bridezilla weddings. It was a fucking nightmare. And I was like, never again, never again. I quit. I couldn't handle the pressure, the stress, being yelled at for stupid shit that was not my job or my fault. It was just, I hated it. This is better because people come to me in my tea shop months ahead, and I get to do like what I want. And then, they taste it, and then we fine tune it together, and it's a collaborative art project, and it's lovely. But they're not in those last like stress, like aggro stages when they come to me. I get in the picture early, and I just do my job, and I give them their wedding favors. Exactly. And I'm not a part of the actual day. So yeah. And that's by design.
That's so much smarter. I have to ask, do you have a nightmare wedding story from either your tea period or your chef period? Because I've got one, and I just want to see how we stack. Yeah.
I've got two. One of them takes place in Chicago.
We're the worst.
Well, it's not Chicago's fault that the entire city got norovirus at the same time. It was I was in charge of the cake for my older sibling Rebecca's wedding, and I flew into Chicago, and the day before the wedding, both myself and my 8-year-old caught norovirus, as did the entire city. So I was up all night with a vomiting child, and then I started hurling, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not touching food right now that's going to be served to people. Are you kidding me?" No. So I I had baked all of the things and it just needed to be decorated. And I am literally the only food service professional in my entire extended family. So my dear Aunt Katie stepped in and was like, I can try. I've never decorated a cake in my life. It was deeply ugly. And also, what are you going to do? You know? And then
shout out to Katie.
Shout out to Katie. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Katie is a fucking trooper. And it was the ugliest, most crooked, like, it was so bad, but like, what are you going to do? You know, Katie stepped in, did her best. She had no idea what she was doing, no experience. So there's that. But my siblings' nightmare of a maid of honor who was like very clearly in love with them, like decided to get really weird during the maid of honor speech, refer to my 8-year-old child as patient zero because they were the first one to get like sick, even though the whole city got sick and like we had flown in. So clearly this was picked up on the flight and like, what? Who blames an 8-year-old for ruining a wedding? The groom was all like vomiting the entire reception. Like it was so bad. And then made a snide comment about how ugly my cake was and how, you know, you shouldn't hire family to do, you know, important baking projects in the maid of honor speech. And I was like, I could honestly ship this bitch right now. Like if I had the energy, but I was up puking all night. So probably not gonna. So that sucked. That sucked. Yeah, but the worst best one was I was 19 years old and I got hired by the ultimate bridezilla to solo chef a wedding. Which why would you do that? Why would you hire a 19-year-old who had only been in the industry for a couple of years to 100% be in charge of all the food for your fancy magical princess dream wedding that you've been thinking about since you were a child? And this chick was like 60 years old and was finally getting her magical princess dream wedding that she wanted since she was 10. And she had not updated what she wanted. So we're talking floofy princess ball gown. We are talking ribbon dancers. There were ribbon dancers, a troupe of little girl ribbon dancers coming down the aisle to Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time. I will never forget that. And this chick was like in the kitchen right before the wedding being like, I should be doing my makeup. I shouldn't be down here making sure you're doing your job. And I was like, no, probably not. Yeah, like everything was fine. Like nothing was even going wrong. She was just like freaking out. And like, it was just a mess. And then she wanted to walk me out in front of everyone at the reception, be like, we hired a private chef. But I still had a little tinge of green from the Star Trek convention I had attended the night before, like around the ears. So then people were like, is your chef sick? And she got really mad at me. And she was like, I'm never hiring a child again. And I was like, why did you?
Why did you in the first place?
Oh my God.
It was so bad. She had a competitive skydiver skydive into the middle of the ceremony to be the best man because her husband is like kind of into skydiving. It was magical and terrible. And I felt like I was having a fever dream.
You mean the husband didn't get to pick it? Of course he didn't get to pick his best man.
Of course he didn't pick his best man. Of course not. It wasn't about him.
But no.
Oh man. I wonder how their divorce is going.
I know.
I think all your nightmare stories beat mine. Like my nightmare stories weren't nightmare at me because nobody really gives a shit about the musician by the time we're on. Everybody's just wants to go home or eat. So, but it was about the cake. And to this day, this still haunts me because I walked by the cake and it said, congratulations. And it was written beautifully, except the S. Oh, congratulations. Like, I guess they write with like, I don't know how cakes happen, but like, there's just like a little tail on the S that was like a 1% off from the rest of the font. Just a little tail on the end of the S. And I saw the bride see that. And when I tell you, look, I have been in a lot of dive bars and I've seen a lot of people wild out. I have never seen somebody lose their shit more than this lady with a knife in her hand, getting ready to cut the cake. And she looks at that S, it goes ballistic.
Unbelievable.
She yelled something like, "This is the last fucking straw," and I'm like, and I'm just playing. Very superstitious.
Oh my
This is fucking ridiculous. Right hand on the wall. All I want to do is stop singing and just focus on this lady just going to town on people with a knife.
Yeah, that was
She's
the real show.
Waving a knife in her hand at me.
No.
I'm like, oh, I need to go.
Yeah, see, the cake is like, there's so much pressure on the damn cake. If it's not perfect, they'll fucking lose it. I just didn't want that kind of negativity in my life, so I quit doing cakes.
I couldn't imagine.
No, thank you.
My best friend made cupcakes and the main cake for my wedding, and like legit, I honestly was also like the chillest bride ever. So I just didn't like. There's a whole bunch of things that went wrong the day of my wedding that I was just like, eh. The night before, they had double booked the venue, and there was people doing like a Pilates lesson. We're supposed to have it for the entire like weekend, but like the night before, there was people like doing jazzercise and Pilates in the fucking venue. So it's just like, smells like a Pilates class in here. What are you gonna do?
You getting married in that funk?
I was getting married in someone's Zumba funk. No, it was a Zumba-thon. That's what it was.
Oh God, you got that exotic. You got that exotic funk. Look, if I ever get married, motherfuckers gonna get honey buns and shut the fuck up and be happy about it. I am.
Oh my gosh.
I'm scared of wedding cakes, and you have to make them. No way. That's too much. I'd rather be a professional bomb diffuser than to just randomly have a lady wave a knife in my face.
Yeah. I feel like that's not even unheard of. Like, I mean, like, you give them an opportunity to flip out over like one of the final like perfection details while they're armed. It just seems like terrible planning. Yeah.
Like, and why is there a tradition of like cutting the cake together? Weddings are dumb. I've only ever been to like one as a guest, but I've been to like 3 as a musician, and they're dumb. They're dumb. We should stop doing them. They're dumb. Oh no. Marry who you like. Just don't be a nightmare about it. I do have to ask though, going from like bridezillas, you are in the tea industry, which you yourself acknowledge is a very hoity-toity kind of community.
We have our unfortunate few. I will say, overall, by and large, the tea community is full of real friendly nerds that just want to hang out and be like, oh, I drank this plant and it was so good. You got to try this. And like, that's our vibe. But we also have a few who are like, excuse me, but technically, if you're not using this specific equipment and this exact, and you're not purifying your water and it's not from this specific farm that I personally like, you're an amateur and you don't even get to talk about it. Like we got the douchebag, like, gatekeepers, like they're a real problem.
T-bros.
But that's why, yes. And it's almost exclusively white men who fetishize Asian culture and have a tea blog. They suck. So I just don't hang out with them.
That description could be used to describe so many different gatekeepers for so many different hobbies. I feel like it's the same 8 white guys.
Yeah.
They're like, let's fuck something else up.
Yeah, pretty much. And unfortunately, one of our major like tea world like news publications has a bunch of them on their writing staff. So like it's honestly, we are getting to the dark roast early. Yes, Nikki. Honestly, it's a circle jerk. Of like, oh, this amazing tea blogger who really knows his stuff. And I'm like, that is just your friend Chad. He's an asshole. He's over here taking credit for shit that was invented in like China or Sri Lanka, like literally hundreds of years ago, and acting like he discovered something new. Fuck off, Chad. Like, unbelievable. Like the amount of appropriation and just like gatekeepy douchiness that happens with a very specific group of people in my industry infuriates me. There's also like a really unfortunate trend of the like Instagram, like the Instagram white girl who discovers something that is a very pretty like form of tea. Like Kashmiri chai saw this. Kashmiri chai saw this earlier this year because it is a pink chai, very popular in Iran and surrounding regions. And there's a chemical reaction that turns the green tea like visibly pastel pink in the cup. It's freaking adorable. The Instagram influencers of America got a hold of that and they were like, look what I discovered, y'all. And I was like,
if there's one thing you can always rely on white people to do is to repackage something ancient, blander.
It happened with blue butterfly, tea flower, pea flower. Yep. It happened with golden milk, which is like a traditional Ayurvedic household, like common cold remedy that I have so many like Indian and Pakistani friends who are like, oh, okay, now we like golden milk? Like, fuck you. You came to my house and made fun of me for it in like elementary school, but okay, now it's trendy. Like, yeah, like that's that. So anyway, I'm like a little riled up right now. Like I'm really mad about this.
I love this because what I'm hearing, and just bear with me as I try and get my brain to like work like it's a fucking lawnmower. We're gonna get to the point eventually. I just gotta give it a few tugs. This sounds exactly like the TTRPG community in the sense that we have grognards who for a very long time circle jerked themselves into like a perfect phalanx defense so that nobody else can get in. And eventually we just overwhelmed them with numbers and we took the hobby back. It sounds like there's like this one major publication in the tea building community. And I'm curious if there's ever been a side of you that's just been or a lone thought in your head like, I've got an audience and fuck these guys and wanted to put something out on your own. Like your own publication to kind of like destroy the chance because I mean,
yes.
if there's a way that we could contribute, like I'll put a TTRPG adventure at the end of your first 3 issues, and I know we can get some other writers.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that.
Yeah, just
wonderful.
Because you have the brand of TTRPG. Anyway, so if you have something to give your TTRPG readers an incentive to read this publication, then we can join forces and break the circle jerk up and get a mop and clean up because that's gross.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm desperately desiring to do exactly that. And the reality of my current life situation is that I'm busy as hell. So yeah, I any writing that I have been doing has a little pin in it during peak tea season, which is the same as gift season. So hot beverage season and gift giving season overlap. So I worked fully a 9-hour just order fulfillment shift yesterday. And then I came home, like ate dinner, and then I crashed out, and then I got up and did this, and like, you know, I've got to go back to work after this, but it's a lot. And right now I would like to brag about how wonderful business growth has been for the last few years for our little nerd tea company. And I feel like I can brag in a way that is a celebration of community, because during the pandemic, our company has focused so much on like charitable outreach and programs, and we focus so much on building community and keeping people connected with each other. So I do feel like the growth that we've seen in the last few years really has a lot to do with people giving a shit about each other, and that's very beautiful. Because like, you know, like fuck capitalism.
Eat the rich. No, don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, my headphones are giving me a little difficulty.
No worries.
But they're a very fun color, so there's that. Okay, cool. I think we're back on.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, so
Rock and roll.
definitely, yes, I think we're good. So yeah, definitely eat the rich. And also as a small business owner, I'm like, oh shit, I get to actually see growth at like a really like, economic time. That's very exciting. Our company grew 54% in revenues last year over the previous year. So 2020 over 2019. And then already this year, 60 something percent over last year. And that is huge for a small business in a time of crisis. That's not small.
That's unheard of, almost.
It's ridiculous. So I have been able to double my staff and like provide a very cool, very well-paying work environment for very cool people. And I was able to finally like actually offer health insurance to my staff this year, which is
Heck yeah.
huge. So very exciting. We are now planning to expand into a dedicated production facility early next year so that we can actually keep up, because our space is one small tea shop. There's a little counter. We have 2 weighing scales, and that's all the space we have to process orders right now. And there physically isn't enough room for us to keep order turnarounds quick. So that's a cool problem, but also really stressful. And so next year, we're planning to get like a warehouse space so that we can work better and stay more on top of things and do the cool stuff like advent calendars that we've been wanting to do for years and just haven't had the space to do so, and do more, like really cool events and collaborations and things. And also that'll mean that I personally don't have to spend so much time like after hours filling orders and I could actually write again, which would be cool. Yeah. So we're definitely already super on track to do that. And then we're going to be crowdfunding early next year a second retail location for my dude Greg at the store, who is basically Uncle Iroh, but like an adorable Seattle nerd. But he's our Iroh, like legit, and he's the one responsible for those dinosaur teas. So it'll be Greg's tasting room. He gets his own location of the company.
Amazing.
And that's like so exciting because Greg is honestly the best. He's a total pro and he's like the sweetest man alive. And he told me a couple of years ago that like his career goal is to run his own branch of our company. And I was like, bet, yeah, I got you. Like, absolutely. Like, let me just use the keys. Yeah.
If he sings about a little soldier boy, though, I'm leaving. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah. No, Greg likes to keep it chill. He's not about the tears. I like crying recreationally because I'm very much about like big feelings in a really epic way. Greg is like the most just like baseline mellow dude I've ever met in my life.
No, but that's awesome. Like I had no idea that y'all were like making moves like that.
Yeah.
I have to ask, what has been the most fulfilling part of running your own successful business, and what has been the most surprisingly challenging part of running your own business?
I think the challengingness is it shouldn't have been surprising, but maybe I just don't pay attention to stuff. God, the work-life balance thing is brutal. I feel guilty when I'm not working, and I feel guilty when I'm not hanging out with my family.
Ooh,
and that's rough. I have an overblown sense of obligation and guilt, which I think comes from the whole like Mexican Catholic upbringing. So it's really hard. Anytime I'm not at work, I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a slacker. And then when I'm at work, I'm like, oh my God, I'm the worst family member. But I like literally never stop moving or doing things or taking care of people. So like, I got to work on that. That's very challenging for me. And gosh, I think just time and energy management is so much more, and that it's a constant thing. You can't just like set like, this is my schedule. This is a program that I'm going to do. And then that's like it. You can't do that. It's not a set it and forget it thing. You have to constantly be maintaining the balance and shifting as needed. Right. So that sucks. But fulfillingness, I really, really love how much my work brings like joy, just like a little everyday warm happiness to people's lives. That is everything to me, knowing that like in just a small, simple, everyday, quotidian kind of way, like everything that I am doing is making people's lives just like a little bit warmer and a little bit more friendly and like a little bit easier. And that's the jam. Like that's all I want out of my job, you know? So yeah, I like that.
So if things could go your way in the next 10 years, what does your business look like from there?
I want 2 retail locations where people can come hang out, be friendly nerds with each other, and just like have a real good time tasting tea and building community. A booming online trade. I want to be bringing in just enough money that everyone can be paid well enough to work just as much as they want to and still have space and energy in their lives to do other things that fuel them. I don't want for my crew to have to work full time to be able to survive, because they're all artists and have hobbies and things like that. So I want that. And that's it. I want for everyone to be well paid enough to enjoy their lives and not be fucking miserable and burnt out. And I want for people to like what they're doing. And I want to provide and facilitate space for people to form connections and feel seen and taken care of in a little bubble of the world.
I'm just imagining
that's my corporate master plan.
I'm just imagining running a D&D game in a tea shop, and that would be the
we do
sickest.
That. Well, we did in the before times, and we will again. So Josh Simons is a buddy of mine, and he like just moved to Seattle like pretty recently, and he's like, when you have games in store again, I'm gonna run them at your shop. And I was like, hell yeah, man, hell yeah. When that's a thing again, like you got it. You reserve the big table, and you run all the games you want. But we were doing that for a while there, and it was so much fun. And we've got like an extensive board game library. I'm always like up on Kickstarter getting all the cool like indie games. Oh, I just acquired my first Spanish language board game for the shop library. I'm so excited.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we got that Flamecraft one with the cute dragons that have jobs, and I got it in English and in Spanish.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so there are questions that we have to ask every guest on the show.
Every time.
And as somebody with a refined palate and a masterful understanding of flavors, I'm really counting on you to come through for me. Okay. So here we go. In the TTRPG community, there is a war, right? Between people who see dice as forbidden candies that are meant to be crunched. People putting dice in their mouth and just crunching them.
Oh no.
And then there are people on the other side of the fence that say, don't put dice in your mouth, you freaking weirdos, that you'll damage your teeth. It's a choking hazard. And so one day I might need to roll your dice, and I don't want to touch that. That's gross. So Friday, I have to ask you, what side of this war are you on? Are you a cruncher, or are you stop the crunch?
Oh man. I am those weirdos. Okay. So
no!
Okay. Hey, it's neurological, okay? So it is true that to be fair, I do actually interface with reality through the medium of flavor and texture. Ever since I was old enough to put things in my mouth, it's what I've done. We like had to make t-shirts at one point that said I put a lot of weird shit in my mouth, like, because it was like such a running thing. Because I just, I do all these videos over on TikTok about like, what people's names taste like and things like that. And sometimes it's like you taste like a specific material and gauge of nail and olive leaf. And people are like, why would you know what that tastes like? I'm like, I shouldn't, you're right. However, I sure do know what that tastes like, because I grew up on a farm in the wilderness, totally unsupervised. There were mountain lions around, and my parents were like, go play on the mountain. I'll ring the goat bell when it's time to come back for dinner. I was just out there putting stuff in my mouth. I could have died at any time, but I'm okay. And now I have a very keen understanding of a lot more flavors and textures than a person really should. So yes. Yeah. So there we go. Oh yeah, I like this comment from Nikki. When you said something tastes like Smarties in your mouth, when you shake your head and they click on the inside of your teeth, that is true. That is a real thing. And that was Los Jibbities.
Los Jibbities.
It was Los Jibbities. That one.
Okay, I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
If you could assign a flavor to the sensation of rolling dice.
Immediately.
So in order to make a tea blend that was a crunch-related tea blend to help maybe take the edge off of that.
Can we make a stop the crunch tea?
We can. And immediately I am telling you, it would be almost entirely bitter orange peel with freshly crushed coriander.
Ooh.
I'm gonna pretend.
Green Szechuan peppercorn. That's it. It's green. It's the green Szechuan peppercorn.
That's
It's
very
those
pungent
things.
and very flavorful.
Yeah, and really sharp. Very floral and bitter. Yeah. So there we go. That's what that tastes like. I think if I were to make it into an actual tea, I'd have to put it in something for it to be really palatable. And I think at that point it would probably be maybe like a dark roasted oolong, a little bit, but more like a malty black tea, like a golden Yunnan with Laotsang oolong as a base, just to really carry it through in a way that's actually pleasant to drink. Yeah. Oh, I see this comment. We want to know do you pronounce it Panita?
Yeah,
like
it's Anita with a P in front of it.
Excellent.
The reason why
Okay,
the H is in there.
different.
The reason why the H is in there is because PANITA has already been taken on every social media platform.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, all right. So we're doing screen names. Okay. So let's see. Panita spelled like that, especially because the H is in the middle, is very much like a
I'm excited to see how this works out because I've got a story behind why my screen name is what it is.
Okay, I'm gonna say something that to the Western palate might not sound like a compliment, but to the Eastern palate is a fucking delicacy. I'm going to say fermented yak butter on coffee, like a layer of foamy fermented yak butter on top of good dark bitter coffee.
Yak is just such a funny word.
It really is. Yes, it really is.
Fermented yak butter.
I'm guessing it's sort of like warm, and it does have like that little bit of pungency to it.
Yes, and it's salty.
And salty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty popular thing in Tibet for mixing with cave age teas like pu'ers and things. It's sort of the bulletproof coffee of Tibet. Bulletproof coffee is another one of those things that a white guy was like, I just invented this. And then all of like the Himalayas are like, did you? So there we go. Yeah, fermented yak butter on top of good dark bitter coffee. And then the TTRPGs. Oh, are we doing it all smushed together like that or individual words? Because that's different.
I'll
just do what I want. It's all smushed together. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, there you go. I panicked real hard.
So the TheNoirEnigma is actually a thing in the lore of his homebrew world.
Fantastic. Excellent. So there's a slight difference in flavor if there are spaces between those words versus not. So
you know what? Let's do it with the space because that's
okay.
how it's meant to be read. Let's do it.
Okay, great. In that case, yerda it's an intermediary word. It's dandelion fluff tripping across the tongue like it's a tumbleweed. Noir is one I love because here we get really dark. We're talking like a 95 to 99% chocolate ganache. So heavy cream, but not sugar, bitter, dark, and like stretchy, like smooth,
me.
creamy.
I'm just black and bitter. So far, we're
ideal. Yes. But there's like a little hint of like port right on the edge, like port wine.
Yeah.
Right there on the edge.
Get turned up too.
In there. Yeah. And then enigma is an interesting one because it's not a great tasting word. The word enigma itself, not the meaning, but the word is like dried lime peel, a little earwax, and blue cheese. So not my favorite. I like noir better. Yeah. So that's what I am literally tasting in my actual mouth as I'm interfacing with that word.
Okay.
So, there we go.
What's the difference? What's the difference if it's smooshed together?
Oh, the lime peel dominates everything. All the other notes are still kind of there, although the earwax really just drops away. But looking at them all smushed together without the spaces, the lime peel soars over everything else.
I like it better smushed together.
Me too.
Let's get that earwax out of there.
Me too. Yeah, it's that was rough, but it's okay.
I mean, like I was hoping that my drink would get you turned up. It sounds like my drink would get you lit. Mm-hmm. Like, just after doing what you do at the club, you just drink a little TheNoirEnigma, get lit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got some wine in my tea. My tea is better than yours, Anita.
And like dark chocolate, like the good shit, top shelf.
Mine's also fermented.
Yeah, there we
Fermented
go.
yak butter.
Yak butter.
So for a morning
That
for a
actually
morning
sounds really
ritual,
good.
for a morning ritual, you just put those two teas together and you just hold
You
it
know,
on.
I'm not even mad about it, honestly. I feel like I might, in a practical sense, just because of curdling, I might not do, well, I guess fermented yak butter is pretty much as curdles as it's gonna get, but like you could do your super dark, rich, creamy chocolate ganache stirred into your coffee. You can add a dash, just a touch of port in there just to kind of mix it in and add a little bit of that like dark fruit kind of vibe. And then you can put your yak butter foam on top, which is salty.
Like this.
There you go.
Put it all in there.
And then you run a fresh lime peel around the rim of the cup to get the oils on there. And then you pretty much have the combination. So that is an actual real beverage that you could make that would be a combination of those things. I don't know how good it would be in actual practice, but in theory, it could be done.
I got to tell you, the NoirEnigma tea sounds like I can't afford it.
I can synthesize those flavors with alternate ingredients that are not obscenely expensive. Could be done.
That's my dream in life. I want something named after me that I can't afford.
There it is.
Like, damn, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I see it. I'm going home now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll go like single origin, like private estate chocolate with like hand processed beans and like small farm organic, like heavy cream to make that ganache. And then your port is like from one of the finest vineyards. And it's also like from the year you were born. Ooh. Put some gold flakes on top of that. There you go.
So I've heard you mention like specific farms a few times, and like I am an avid sports fan, which means that my life is awful because I'm also in Chicago. But what that also means is that I ride or die with my team. So my question is, like, in the tea community, are there people that are just like fans of specific farms? And like, are there like farm competitions?
Oh, there are. But it's more like at the auction houses for export from the region of origin. And we do have our favorites, but we're less competitive as an industry and more cooperative because again, we're just a bunch of fucking nerds that are like, oh my God, you got to try this. So like I went into one of the other tea shops in town the other day just to visit and say hi because I'm friends with like their whole crew. We're all friends with each other. We have a little like inter tea shop like book club thing going on, and like we're very cute friends with all the crew at the Perennial Tea Room, which is down in Pike Place Market. So they'll come visit us, we go visit them, whatever. So I went in and they're like, oh, we just got this white tea in from Nepal, and I was like, Kachinjunga Estate, and they were like, no, we haven't tried their stuff. And I was like, okay, I got the hookup with 2 white teas from the Kachinjunga Estate. Who you got? And they were like, so we're like trading them like Pokemon cards. And
that's what I was imagining.
Yeah. That's what we do. So I have a handful of farms that I'm like obsessed with. I'm a huge farm nerd. I was raised in the Central Valley in California by hippies. So I'm very much like, fuck big agriculture, small farms or nothing. Like it's, I went to school for environmental economics and policy, sustainability and horticulture so that I could then help small farms figure out how to compete financially or at least stay viable in the market against big agriculture takeover. That's kind of my life end game is to help small farms stick it to the man and not get taken over by big agro. Because I saw that happen a lot to a lot of our small family farms back home. And it was so shitty for the environment and for the local economy. And also just like they suck. The quality of the product goes down, like everything about it is bad. And that's an issue with literally every agriculture industry. So tea has a big problem with that too. So all of the teas that we carry at the store by design are not certified organic because that certification process is deeply expensive and invasive. Small farms, for the most part, can't afford the certification, even if they are working ethically and to organic standards. So what I do instead is I vet the actual people and their actual processes and make my decisions based on that, not whether or not they can afford the stamp. The stamp is a racket, to be real with you. I put more stock in the Rainforest Alliance stamp than I do the organics one. So anyway, my major geekdom is farms and import export, fairness and sustainability and small farm grooviness. So yeah, I'm a big fan of several very specific farms. I become friends with the farmers, and it's a very nice time.
See, that's kind of what I love about fandoms and nerdery in general. I don't know a goddamn thing about farms, but like I could already give you some questions to ask just based on fandoms in general. Like, is there a bad boy farm? Is there the farm that's like popular but they've got a bad reputation? Like, is there the overrated farm where everybody's like, you gotta go here, but you actually go there and it's just like, it's mid at best, but you know.
Interesting. There are a lot of like really touristy farms, but unfortunately we're going to run into my Care Bear nature here, where I think that every single farm is a special snowflake and they each have their totally beautiful qualities.
That is the antithesis of my Chicago soul. I want you to know that.
Please remember my follow your bliss drum circles and feelings check-ins childhood. My father still calls me for feelings check-ins like every other week. That's what they're called. My dad is let's facilitate a dialogue about this disagreement. Like that's how we talk in my household growing up. So, so yeah, I'm not really on the like aggro level. That's not my natural state. My natural state is kumbayas and hand holding and like baking snacks and drum circles. So so I do love most farms. If a farm seems shitty in their ethics, I do not interface with them, but I do talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've stopped being meek in recent years in my career about bad actors in my own industry. So if someone's being a shithead, I'm gonna talk about it and call them out anymore, which I used to be too shy to do even a couple of years ago. But I think I just got fucking sick of it. So sick of it. So yeah, now if I see someone being a piece of shit, I'll yell about it on the internet and get real mad, and I'll tell people about it. And but otherwise it's all sunshine and tea parties and picnics and best friendship bracelets. So yeah.
Have you had to deal with anybody hating on your tea company? My Chicago nature, I'm asking this sweet Care Bear, like, well, what about the negativity in your life?
That's a very real thing, because I do really struggle with taking negative criticism, not personally. And I think just because of what I do and how I interact with people, and because my whole thing is based around genuinely giving a shit and really wanting to take care of people. So very rarely do I get any negative feedback, or does anyone say anything negative about me. And I think I just don't live my life in a way that makes it easy for people to say mean things about me or what I do. There's still some people, it happens.
And the main reason that I asked that is just because as a femme presenting individual, you can't really do anything on the internet without somebody, being a hater. And like and to have your own business, that is like the thing. Like that is in the capitalist society that we're living in, like that is the goal. So I know that it's hard enough for some of my femme friends to like even start streaming without dealing with constant barrage of negativity. So I was just wondering, as a business owner, is that something that continues, or does it diminish the more you separate yourself from needing to be attached to something else, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, I think so. So I see less negative feedback on my business the more I'm personally hands-on in the face of the business. I think tea specifically is a very intimate ritual, whether someone is just drinking tea by themselves or whether it's something that they're sharing with someone intentionally. It is an intimate practice, and it's designed to connect people either with themselves or with, others. And I think anytime that I step back a little bit from the business, we start to see people feel like their connection with our company is less personal. And then we might get like, service wasn't great, Friday wasn't there, or whatever. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, like I got a life. Like I can't just, most of my life is work, and that's great. And it makes me happy, but like not all of it. Can I sleep? Damn, or like, do you want my company to not grow? Because that's the only way that I can be the only person you talk to here. And that sucks. So we do occasionally get people who are like, I didn't like the service. I only want to talk to Friday. And I was like, that sounds like a you problem, really. Like, that's honestly, you're creeping me out. That happens occasionally, or, you know, people will come in and like, well, I'll get the occasional negative Google review that is like, I didn't understand the layout of the store and the tea was just okay. And I'm always like, oh, how dare you? That is objectively not true. No, but I mean, of course, tea is subjective, you know, and so it's like, it's someone's palate. I can't really fault them for that, but also like, rude. You know, so I don't like that.
if you don't understand the layout of a store, I think that's on you.
Right. And it's like, I mean, people come into the store and we're immediately like, hey, here's, you know, how to navigate our shop. Let us know if we can help you at all. My whole crew is like so friendly and competent. So when someone says they got bad service at my store, I'm like, did you even try to interact with anyone? Or did you just kind of decide you were in a mood that I don't know, you know? So yeah, it's every now and again, but very rarely do I get any like negativity on the internet. Yeah. And I don't know if it's just that I don't really put myself out there as much, but honestly, even lately, since I've been talking shit about bad actors in my industry, I mostly just get righteous agreement. I'm like, I'm not trying to cultivate an echo chamber over here. I think it's just when someone's being a piece of shit, people who tend to follow me and my like Care Bear hippie, like best friends forever with everyone in the world attitude will tend to be like, yeah, that isn't very nice.
I have watched your takedowns of David's tea with like, and like looking at the teas that are in my.
So, okay. To be fair, that takedown was about David himself, and he hasn't been with the company for several years. He had a very dramatic and negative parting of the ways with David's Tea a few years ago. He was the original owner and he was the founder of the company, but he left.
It's David's Tea in name only.
It's David's Tea in name only. Although it's still my understanding from everyone I've talked to who works there that they treat their employees like crap, generally speaking. Yeah. So, meh.
Nah.
Meh. Yeah. But yeah, at least I can say if I am taking down David himself, that is a separate thing from talking about David's tea. Yeah.
David is the Papa John of tea.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna come at you with like half of a question and a story, and I want to know if there's any truth to it. Mm-hmm. So Celestial Tea.
Celestial Seasonings. Oh God, is this about the cult?
Yeah.
Is this a thing?
I wasn't sure if it was real. I wanted to know.
Yes. Okay. So Celestial Seasonings, a very popular bag tea company. Their founders founded the company in part as like a conduit for a cult or funding for their cult. And I don't remember the details exactly. This all came out. There was like an article about it a few years ago that I read and I was like, yikes, that's wild. But the thing is that they haven't owned the company for years. So like, it's not owned by creepy cult people anymore. But it was some kind of like breeder cult. Like it was weird. It was wild.
Is that why the art on the boxes is so weird sometimes?
It's a cute little bear. What are you talking about?
That's just the sleepy time one. The art on some of the boxes is fucking wild.
Yeah, really? I've got the peppermint one in my kitchen right now.
Yeah, they put some weird shit on their boxes, but I think that's just for fun. I don't know that has to do with their cult. And it's been, I mean, I think probably a decade or more since they changed hands. So Celestial Seasonings is no longer cult affiliated to my knowledge.
Oh man.
But that is a real thing. Yeah, there are extensive articles about it online. Yeah.
I feel
I hope you know that you are making sales while you were on the show.
Oh, dope.
Malcolm Soldiers bringing Crab and Chocolate and Magic from the shop.
The real sales we made were the friends along the way.
That's right.
No,
that's great. Oh yeah, but that chocolate mint magic tea is dope. It's really good. It comes in regular black tea or decaf black tea or red tea as a base. Ooh. It's nice.
I feel like there's just like quietly just this wild world in the world of teas that like nobody's paying attention to, like Diagon Alley. And,
oh my gosh, yes.
Like, or that's bad reference, but like It's just like this whole secret world going on. Like you got cults. You got like a circle jerk that needs to be defeated. You got snobs.
You've got
and
internet
like
cabals.
influencers.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. There was that one like local tea company here that actually ran a nice, like small queer owned tea company in Salt Lake City out of business because she thought that, so this was a bad one. This was a bad one. There's a tea company locally. I'm honestly not going to be shy about talking shit. I've dropped names other times. So the Queen Mary Tea Room here in Seattle, which is our like posh English tea room, where you can go and have fancy afternoon tea. The owner, I honestly don't care who knows about this. I think she's a monster. I really do. And she started an MLM, like we're talking the Mary Kay, but tins of tea, a while back.
Oh, no.
And it's called Tea Queens. That's the name of her program. There was this lovely little gay couple owned tea shop in Salt Lake City that's called the Queen's Tea. So you can see where this is going probably already.
Yeah.
Now, the two gentlemen that own the Queen's Tea started a fantastic fundraising initiative to help queer street youth in Salt Lake City. And they were selling t-shirts that said Tea Queen on it. And it was very cute. And they were trying to help, the queer kids in fucking Salt Lake, which as you can imagine is like not a small population of queer street youth there. And the owner of this tea shop here said, I can't have my brand associated with that community, and took them to court for using the name Tea Queens because it's the name of her MLM. And didn't legally have a leg to stand on because they're in totally different states. So even if they were using the same name as a business, if it's in a different state, there's nothing that the law can really do about that. But she ran them through so many proceedings and filings and all that they went bankrupt with legal fees and had to close down. And then she just carried on her way. I'm pretty sure she fired a trans employee who had just come out like the next week. Like it was bad. So that's a thing that there's that kind of stuff happening in our industry. For the most part, again, we're all like, most of us are really sweet, touchy-feely and friendly. And then we have that kind of attitude that's very like colonial, very me, gimme, like it's so disgusting. So yeah, I have made it a personal goal of mine to call out bad actors, because I just don't think that there's any room for that kind of behavior in tea, a beverage that is inherently, again, about connection and community building. I think there's no space for that kind of thing here. If it's not about love, what is it doing in this industry?
That level of bigotry is just
horrifying.
Mm-hmm. Terrible.
Absolutely horrifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I just brought the party down in a big way because that was a rough one. But yes, the tea industry has all these like, every now and again, we'll get a story like that where the rest of the industry is like, you did what? What are you even doing in this industry? Why are you here? Like, you are not invited to my tea table. Oh my God. So that kind of thing does happen in the industry. Fortunately, it's the tiniest sliver of the industry. Yeah. Most tea people are drawn to the tea world because they want to connect and they just want to like geek about cool plants, Yeah. But yeah, I know that was a real bummer. Sorry.
Oh no, I can bounce this back. So the Brits, our UK family.
Yes.
They are very particular about their tea. I got chewed out because I got chewed out by one of my British friends because I microwaved my water for my tea. Yeah. See, I feel safe here. This is a safe place. But I told them that, and I got cussed all the way out.
I imagine so, yes.
Yeah, apparently that was very disrespectful to my Earl Grey. I want to know what tea faux pas do you know about that? You might not yourself believe in, but you are aware of, because I was not aware that microwaving water was a bad idea for tea.
Well, and to be honest, there's a reason that microwaving your water for tea is not the most advantageous practice for your enjoyment. Right. Like there is a reason that that's not considered like a cool move, is because the microwave flattens the flavor of your water, and also it'll absorb any of the flavors that are just chilling in your microwave. Like that'll happen. So it does affect the flavor of your tea. It makes it taste flatter, more cardboardy, and also like whatever is in your microwave. So that's a fact. There you go. So hot pocket Earl Grey. Maybe not everyone's blend. Again, if you like it and it's working for you, do it. But like things that people are snobs about in my industry, it's like there's always like a reason for it, but also don't be an asshole. Like, So it's like different water temperatures for different kinds of tea is a big one. Making green tea with boiling water is a sin in a lot of people's eyes. And there's a reason for that, because green tea is really delicate and it scalds easily. So if you put boiling water on green tea, as opposed to water that's at like 160 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit, then it'll make it taste more bitter. It pulls all the bitter notes and kind of leaves the soft, sweet floral notes that the tea is designed to do. It kind of leaves them in the dust. So there's a reason for it, but also like, oh my God, if you want to boil your damn green tea, fucking do it. Like, okay, again, Greg at the shop, right? Dude grew up in a Japanese household where his grandmother would just throw a bunch of loose sencha, which is a very delicate green, into a pot, pour boiling water over it, and then not even strain it out, just leave it in there to get horrifyingly oversteeped. Most people in the world would be like, why would you do that to that beautiful tea? She's an old Japanese woman. Who's going to tell her that she's doing her Japanese tea wrong? And so he grew up enjoying his green teas like that. So Greg at work, at the shop, for himself on purpose, brews his green tea in a way that the rest of the industry would find horrifying. And he is a tea professional, but that's what he likes. So it's fine. So yeah, that's definitely one of those ones. I think the addition of milk and sugar to tea is one that people will snob about. And I will say that your breakfast teas, right, like your English breakfast, Irish breakfast, etc., are literally designed for milk and sugar for tax reasons, for money. It's capitalism in old-timey, England. But they are designed, they're small cuts, so the tannins, the bitter things inside the leaf, they come out more easily and more quickly. So you get a very fast brew, but you also get one that has a lot of like bitter maltiness to it right off the bat. So putting cream and sugar in your tea takes away the bitterness. And that's by design, because the British were taxing milk and sugar so heavily that they on purpose were importing teas and processing them in such a way that to be palatable by the populace, you had to buy milk and sugar from them. And so Brits were all things like that.
That's right. That's right, Brits. Your tea's not better. It's just your economics that screwed us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
As someone who adores nothing more than like orange pico with cream and honey, I'm just...
That's exactly how you're supposed to drink it. Yeah. It's supposed to be imbibed that way. But I get people that come into the shop almost every day saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm such a heathen. I put milk and sugar in my tea. And I'm like, first of all, I don't give a shit. None of my business how you like your tea. If you like it, if you like it, you're doing it right. And second, you're drinking an English breakfast. You're supposed to put cream and sugar. If we're playing by any rules at all, you're already doing it the way that it's designed. So, there's that. But yeah, there was like a whole thing with Yopan holly, an American grown, American native, naturally caffeinated holly plant that when the colonies first were established over here, and the indigenous people of the Southwest were drinking this caffeinated holly and getting all fucked up on it and being like, hell yeah, this is our drink. It has no tannins naturally present in the plant, and it grows like wildfire. It's so hyper sustainable that anywhere outside of its native environment, it would immediately be an invasive and kill everything else around it. Grows everywhere. Most sustainable crop we have in the United States to this day. Britain was like, uh-oh, the colonists are no longer buying our shitty broken down tea and sugar and stuff. And like, they don't have to put sugar in their beverage anymore. They're getting all their caffeine needs from a native local plant that they can get for free forever, sustainably. So the British government, this is my favorite propaganda of all time because it's so shameless. The British, like it was their agriculture department, they had classified this with a scientific name, Ilex, something else. Ilex is the holly family. Ilex something, but it's like basically dead to history. Now it's hard to find the original name. They reclassified it as Ilex vomitoria and told everyone, this is what people drink to make themselves barf. It's like those wild natives over there drinking this to make themselves barf because it was part of a ritual in practice by the indigenous people before going into battle to drink like a gallon of this stuff, get all amped up on the caffeine and then purge it so they'd be light and empty, which is the scariest thing I can think of in the world. Someone coming at you with that much caffeine and nothing in their body, like oh my God. Like, I'm already afraid of those dudes. But there was art about the ritual of purging. And so the British government was like, look at these. Ew, it was so racist and horrible. And so they reclassified its scientific name as Ilex vomitoria and said, do you want to be like the Queen and drink proper British tea? Or do you want to be like these guys and barf all over the place? Gross. And it worked. And the colonists and also all the British that they had been sending plants back home to and growing in their garden, they were like, oh no, I can't drink this. It's uncouth. It totally worked. There's nothing emetic in that plant. It only makes you barf if you make you barf. Like it's not making, so that's a real thing that happened. So there's another history lesson.
Oh, that makes me glad that we dumped their tea in the fucking harbor.
Oh
USA,
Oh my gosh. Which was also not problematic because they dressed as Mohawk tribe natives while they were doing it, by the way. That's a detail people forget. That's a detail people forget. It was also a fucked up move. Yeah, it was also a fucked up move. And it was like done. So the claim about dressing up like Mohawk tribe, individuals was, see, we're showing solidarity. We're real Americans, like these guys, our neighbors. So bad. But that was the thought behind that move. They were like, in a show of solidarity, because we're not with the Brits anymore. We're real Americans, like our neighbors, the Mohawks. So we'll dress up like them while we do this. Guys.
History is terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a little tea history for you this morning. But yeah, Yolk and Holly is making a really big comeback right now. It's delicious. We actually carry two different kinds, just like green and roasted, and we get it from this really awesome farm in Texas that is called Cat Spring Yolk, and it grows, really sustainably there. It's part of its native sprawl, and this farm is owned by two horse girl sisters, which I just love. I mean exactly what it sounds like. I mean by that, and they hire only difficult to employ, whatever. What is the right term for that? People who have a hard time finding employment. I
would say that, or
not difficult to employ, but I mean, definitely, yes.
Yeah,
they do hire people out of it. Yeah, absolutely. But also people who have physical disabilities that they work to accommodate in the field, and all of that. So people who might otherwise have a difficult time finding employment.
Underemployed, I think, is the term.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so they are intentionally hiring from the pool of underemployed and making accommodations as necessary for these individuals, which is very cool. So love that.
So sweet. That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's making a comeback. I can only drink a little bit of this stuff before it fully fucks me up, though. The caffeine content is espresso grade. That is not an exaggeration. We're talking 90 to 100 milligrams per cup, depending on what part of its growing cycle it was harvested at.
I think I just found my new favorite tea.
Mm-hmm.
What tea goes best with booze?
Excellent question. The one I was drinking this morning is one of my very favorites. So I've got this knuckle sandwich. This is the decaf one because I'm a baby, but I'm sensitive to caffeine, which is a real bummer in my line of work. But yeah, so this one, it is Knuckles as in Sonic and Tails and inspired. So I was raised on Sega Genesis, so I'm a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and I have a Sonic blend, a Tails blend, and a Knuckles blend. So Knuckles sandwich is my Knuckles blend, and it is black tea with shaved Theo dark chocolate and crushed red chili peppers in it. So chocolate chili, it gets very spicy. Ooh. And I like to put rum chata in this one time, and I have never been that warm that quickly. Like my core heated so fast. I was sweating. I'm basically a corpse. Like I do not get overheated and I rarely sweat. So like for me to be like sweating just from drinking a cup of tea, like I'm not messing around. It's also really good with rum, with Irish cream is really great. Anything creamy, the chocolate teas are fantastic with.
Kahlua.
Absolutely. That would be so good. Chocolate chili coffee cream. Yes. 100%. Oh my gosh. Yes. And then any of the anything in the chai family, anything with like cinnamon, cardamom, black pepper, etc., is fantastic for making hot toddies. You can whiskey spike, bourbon spike, anything in the chai family, and it will be beautiful. And then I know that Greg at the shop is right now infusing vodka with 2 different teas from the new Zodiac collection. He's got the Sagittarius infusing into a bottle of vodka right now, and also the Capricorn one. So that's another cool way to do it. You can actually just put like a few tablespoons of tea leaves into a bottle of spirits and leave it overnight to cold brew, and then just filter it out. Or you can honestly even just leave it in there. It won't over extract if it's in alcohol. So
you'll have to forgive me. Me and my co-host are having a fight right now.
Oh no.
Oh, they did the Sagittarius one, huh? Huh?
Yeah.
I wasn't even gonna say that. But since you brought it up, I'm just kind of wondering when we're gonna get a Leo blend.
Oh yeah, I mean we have all of them. Yeah, Nikki's asking me about the Leo right now. The Leo is actually oh my gosh, Leo is designed to taste like a hot toddy with rose in it. It's already like when I drink it, I feel like I'm drinking alcohol at work. Like the other day I was drinking it and I was like, am I being bad right now?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just my tea.
Yeah. Y'all got it right, because Leos are intoxicating to be around.
That's right. Absolutely. It's also one of the flashiest, most like showy, glamorous look at me theater kid teas that I've ever made.
Yeah, we are flashy. All right, so I got one last. Well, I got 2 questions for you, and then we can bring ourselves to break so everybody can be human for a little bit. This question is coming out of complete ignorance, so please, just bear with me. How different is the coffee world from the tea world? Like, I'd imagine that you. I mean, it's kind of like, football and basketball. They're 2 different sports, but like. Sure.
I know as much about sports as you do about tea, so that's where we're at.
Okay, then let me try that again. It's kind of like D&D and Pathfinder.
Okay,
they're different, but
sure.
Like. So I was just imagining, is there any crossover? Have you ever been tempted to let's try out some coffee stuff, or like are there more differences in those 2 worlds than somebody on the outside would see?
There's a lot of overlap and similarity. Tea, coffee, wine, chocolate are all very similar industries. We all speak a lot of the same language. We talk about like terroir, we talk about cultivars, we talk about, regions of growth and like harvest styles, shade grown versus sun grown. All of that applies to all of these things. So we have a ton in common, and occasionally we do overlap. We do generally professionally tend to specialize in one field because there's just so much.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know as much about coffee as I would like to. However, I am a big coffee drinker. I love coffee. And we have collaborated with Found Familiar on a couple of blends. So I do have a few tea blends that have Found Familiar coffee beans in them. I think I've got 2 or 3 that have the Found Familiar coffee beans in them. And then also the Colombian tea farm that we work with they have a collaboration with a neighboring coffee farm. So we carry a tea called Coffee Kisses. That's a small farm Colombian grown black tea blended with a neighboring farm's roasted coffee beans. And it is delightful. And coffee tea isn't an unusual combination in the Eastern world. It is here in North America, well, in the Americas in general, we're only just discovering that you can mix coffee and tea together, and it is so fucking good. But they've been doing that shit in Korea and in Hong Kong for ages. Like you can go to a vending machine and get like a coffee tea, like it's like half coffee and half like oolong tea, and it's so good.
Real quick shout out to the sponsor, Found Familiar. You should probably drop the code and the link in chat because it's not on the overlay. Gang.
There you go. Yeah, we love them. I'm planning to have them come on my show at some point. We're going to do a flavor exchange stream on our channel where we host Aaron and Lindsay, and we're going to send them some just single origin pure teas that are grown in regions that also grow coffee. And they're going to send me some pure coffee, and we're going to taste each other's stuff and see if we can guess what region it's from, and see what notes the terroir has similar impact on tea leaves versus coffee beans, and where they totally diverge from each other, which I think will be scientifically intriguing and also yummy beverages for all. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Spice Must Flow tea that Nikki's talking about, that's a Dune inspired tea that has I'm familiar cartographer beans in it. Yeah.
So you said tea people, coffee people, chocolate people, and wine people all pretty much speak the same language. In any community where there are like a lot of similarities but a slight difference, one of them is a weirdo. So which one are the weirdos? My money is on the wine people. They step on fruits. It's weird.
You know, they mostly use machines for that now, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I've seen
the grape stomp is like, it's kind of like a party thing. It's like you're kicking off harvest. I'm from wine country, so this I know. The grape stomp is a thing that you do as like a party. It's like a festival move, and people get in there and they do that, but it's more ceremonial than anything now.
I don't know. One day I saw a bunch of white people in buckets doing the electric slide on grapes, and I was very confused.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah. Nikki has actually done that for actual winemaking. I've only done that in like a ceremonial festival way.
That's messed up. That's a waste of grapes.
No, it's not. They're going into the wine. They're not being wasted. They're being processed. With your toes.
That's feet though. That's not what we
like they don't wash. You don't wash your feet first,
right? Yeah, for real. I would say the weirdos are probably. I want to say the coffee crew, actually.
You know what? I can see that. I was a barista for a while there, and like some of the people that come in are just like, and I worked at a Starbucks, so it's just like, dog, we are McDonald's. Like, stop asking me questions. I did have the pleasure of one of my buddies went to El Salvador, and he brought back some coffee, and it was I'm not a coffee snob.
Yeah.
But that coffee was so good that it kind of ruined coffee for me.
That'll happen. Yeah, we've got a local coffee roaster here. The shop is called Bunbuna, and it's entirely East African women-owned small farms that they source from. And the owner, Ephraim, dude knows his shit. He's very passionate about his work, and he makes a decaf coffee that is so flavorful and so nutty and fatty and smooth. I was like, are you sure this shit is decaf? There's no way. And it ruined me for other decafs. I mean, I got Found Familiar decaf in my kitchen right now, but which is also, I collect good decafs because they're not that common to find. Most people just dry the shit out of their beans, make them taste like cardboard, and they're like, there you go, you're welcome. No, thank you. We don't need to settle for that. But the Bunbuna decaf Kenyan, I was just like, I didn't know decaf could taste like this. Are you kidding me? Yeah. He just makes it's the shit. He does in his shop Americanos, but he calls them Africanos, which I love because all of his coffee is from East Africa.
That's what's up. That's what's up. We're taking it back.
That's what it says on the menu. I love that shit. He's the best.
Oh, all right. In my last question before I'm ready for us to go to break, unless Nita has another one. I almost called you a different name. That would have been embarrassing.
Well, now I want to know what name, but we'll go on break.
You'll never know. I'll take that to my grave. If you could play any TTRPG with any 5 people that are alive right now, you even get to choose who's GM. Who are you playing with? Who's at your table? We've had people like Michelle Obama mentioned. We've had people like, Wanda Sykes and Elvira and
oh my gosh.
Elvira and what's I can't remember.
Dolly Parton.
That's the one.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I feel like Jack Black would be a fucking hoot, and I know dude plays. So there's that. I've never actually watched any of his games, but I just think that he is willing to get real weird about stuff, and I feel like that's very delightful to me. So I think I would want to invite Jack Black. I feel like you're making a face. Is there something that I don't know? Does he suck?
No, I love Jack Black, but I watched him in like a D&D live game, and
no,
I would not have him at my table.
Okay. All right. Well, my number one pick is my favorite rock star of all time, who I do believe is actually a real werewolf. His name is Huxley Workman, and really?
Yes.
Oh my God. You just made my whole day. No one fucking knows who Huxley Workman is here. He's very famous in Canada, but like
Canadian.
Okay, well, there we go. All right, yes. I've been obsessed with his music. I've been following his career since I was 15 damn years old. And
all of his music is like a werewolf cabaret. It's amazing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, so Huxley is at my table. And well, now Anita's at my table. Okay. Yes, and I stand by that. And wait, who else is cool? I want Helen Mirren, because I feel like that shit would be like just really like sharp and dry and like very cleverly timed. Like, and I think Helen Mirren could really fucking bring it to a D&D game. So Helen Mirren's too hot. Yeah, I know, that's true. There is that danger. She is too hot. But I think we could probably handle it. So, okay, if I've got, wait, I'm not one of the 5, right? There's 5 other people?
No, it's 5 other people.
Okay, great. So I want Anita and Huxley, and I want Helen Mirren, and I want, oh my gosh, I know, there's so many amazing humans in this world. Holy shit, just pick somebody, Elliott, come on.
It's the Care Bear.
Yeah, I know. I don't want anyone to feel left out. Okay. Then I want Lucy Liu and Jillian Anderson.
Your table is so hot.
That's a hot table.
Yes,
it's a hot table.
It is a hot table. Yeah, and that's a really hot table for sure. And who's GMing this shit? I think I want Lucy Liu GMing. I feel like she got a real sense of structure and pacing and style. So I do feel like I want Lucy Liu GMing this game. And then we've got Huxley, and Anita is there to sit with me and hold hands about Huxley and how great he is. And and then Helen Mirren and Jillian Anderson, I feel like would bring some real like weird clever to it. So yeah, Nikki's like mad at me because I just made the hottest table of all time.
Man, Jillian Anderson, like I still every now and then, like every day I look at the picture of her dressed up as Morticia, and I'm just like, I can make it through the day again. Yeah, definitely. For me, it's any of the ones with the short slick back hair and the white suit with the really sharp lapels. Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But also the super truly bizarre space alien glam like disco photo shoot that she and David Duchovny did to promo the X-Files in the mid-90s. What the fuck happened there?
Somebody just posted those again.
Amazing.
So weird. So weird.
Yes. So that's the table. Stand by this decision.
That's a good thing. I can't find any faults with that table. Huxley, is that this guy's name?
HAWK.
Huxley Workman. Yeah.
SLEY Workman.
HAWK.
Yes. He made an album one time that was literally a Dionysian revel in one-man rock opera cabaret format. And it was called Songs for the God Who Comes. And it toured Canada for like a year. And I desperately wanted to see it, but I couldn't get to Canada during that year. And it broke my heart. But I did download the album immediately at midnight when it released. And it was beautiful.
Workman.
Huxley Workman is one of the strangest, most brilliant bizarros in showbiz. I stand by that.
Just like the songs are also just like such a vibe too.
Mm-hmm. And every album is like a totally different genre. He just does whatever the fuck he wants. And one time my older sibling said about him, I really like him. He always sounds like he's right on the edge. And I think that's very true.
Correct.
Correct.
I'm gonna give this guy a listen. Yeah. He looks very plain.
He looks like it, but he is not. He is like an actual like indie rock werewolf weirdo. He's brilliant.
This racially ambiguous motherfucker. What?
He's a white man from rural Canada.
Yeah.
Like he's from the Baffords. Yeah.
There's one picture. I'm like, there's got to be some black in this guy. You know?
Maybe. I
will highly recommend the album. Last Night We Were the Delicious Wolves.
Which, I mean, if you didn't know think dude was a werewolf, that is like literally just
peak 2001 Canadian aesthetic.
Beautiful.
And just so good. So good.
So good. That one. And then I love that he has a Christmas album that's literally called Almost a Full Moon. Like, yeah. Fucker's an actual werewolf. Oh, I made a tea about his music one time. Our berry juice is a Huxley Workman music tea. Yeah. And I sent him some. I got to send him some. I like, we talk on Twitter sometimes. He's like a Twitter bud of mine, which is so wild because he's like my ultimate like rock star, like, you know, idol. But it turns out he's also like, anymore, he's really into being like a gracefully aging rocker who really likes flannel jammies and sunset walks with his wife and like his cats. And that's like his whole Instagram is just pictures of his cats and his favorite flannel jammies. Like he's so cute now. But when he first started, he was like leather jacket, like really rough, like filthy lyrics, like werewolf smut rock star.
Yeah.
And now he's like I sure like sunsets.
The song Striptease is like terribly horny. Terribly horny.
Tarantula.
I'm just sitting here watching these two fangirls.
I'm so excited because like no one here knows who he is because I'm not in Canada.
Dirty and True is like
Dirty and True. Oh my god, he does that breakdown where he's just kind of like carnival barker speaking over the like really heavy piano. Like fuck. Yes, so he's pretty great.
Someone needs to tell Super Dylan about Huxley.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That is
definitely.
Werewolf smut rock star is what I want on my business card. Yeah,
he's the best. I got to see him live for my birthday a couple of years back, and it was very exciting. He was playing in small town just north of Victoria, and we drove up there, and we got to see him, and it was so nice.
Small town north of Victoria. Like
I can't even remember. It was like some little podunk. No, more podunk than that.
Oh,
I don't remember though.
Yeah, if anybody's curious as to what shows he's doing, on the December 22nd, he's going to be at First Ontario Performing Arts Center, and then he's going to be in Kingston, Ontario, and then Ottawa, Ontario. I guess this motherfucker is not coming to the States.
Doing it in Ontario. No, well, it's because it's not well known at all in the States.
No, really not. He played LA a couple times ever in his career, but that's like it. Even like New York is right there because he's Montreal based. He was Ottawa based for a really long time. But yeah, no, he's Montreal based. But yeah, he comes and he tours over in like BC and stuff. He goes to all the provinces, but he almost never hits the US. It's like he'll play LA like once every 10 years or something.
This 26th, he's going to be at a concert hall that's really close to me of April.
Yes, go to it. the best. His live shows are wild because he's genuinely like a really skilled fucking rocker, and he's been playing with the same guys for decades now. So they just vibe off each other. And so his live stuff is always like so far off from his recorded stuff because he's just having a good time. He's just playing around. And he's in that stage of like comfortable old rocker where he's so finely honed in his skill that he can just kind of settle in, and the whole band just like feeds off each other and they can just vibe. And it's a delight.
And they're called the Wolves.
They are called the Wolves.
Huxley, Workman, and
Huxley and the Wolves. Yeah.
This guy's living that life.
He's so good. You've got to get into it. He's so good, and he's so fucking wild. Like, yeah, he just does whatever he wants, and it's always amazing. I have like 3 of his albums on vinyl in my living room right now. Like, I'm obsessed.
I would play a little bit for chat on stream, but I don't want to get a DMCA takedown.
Oh yeah.
If you're really cool, he lets you play his music on Twitch. No, I'm just kidding.
You know, and honestly, I bet if you asked, he might consider it.
Depends on the record label, probably.
Hey,
oh my God.
Yeah, we're definitely talking about Werewolf Rockstar, Huxley Workman.
So I want to talk about werewolves here. Okay, so Super Dylan, you need to check out the band. I'm going to put it in chat. Huxley Workman. He's a recording artist from Canada, and it's like werewolf, glam rock, and Friday and I have been geeking out about it.
Yes, because I can never talk to anyone about him. Because no one knows him. I've got like all of my own like close circle of friends and family totally into Huxley over the years, but like I never get to talk to like other people outside my household who even know about this guy. So I'm like freaking out right now.
Watch, I'm gonna listen to this and become obsessed. I can feel it in my it in my plums.
Yeah. He does always sound like he's right on the edge, as discussed. His voice is like rough and weird, and like he does some very strange things vocally and instrumentally. And so it typically takes people an average of like 3 tracks to start like getting into him. But then once you get into him and you kind of get his flow, that'll be that.
Like, you're off to the races.
On that note, I think we're going to take a quick break so that Noir can... I want to see Noir's reaction on break when I actually listens to it. And I think I actually want to record it for like content.
Wait, what track are you doing?
Well, let's see. What track should I... Yeah. What track should I do?
Okay, my first was Jealous of Your Cigarette, and I hated it, and then I couldn't get it out of my head, and then I listened to it 7 more times, and then I loved it, and then I never ever stopped.
Most Canadian kids' first introduction to it is the song Striptease.
Really?
Because that was a radio classic. That one got play on the radio.
Amazing.
So yeah, we're going to go on break real quick. We'll be back in about 10 minutes or so that we can go do human things. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Shit all day.
We're back. And we're back.
Yes.
I think we gave Noir a new obsession.
Mm-hmm. Damn right.
Jealous of your cigarette. It's so
catchy.
Right? So catchy.
So catchy. Yeah. God damn it.
Yep. Yep. My little 15-year-old brain, I heard that song one time and I was like, I don't like this, but I can't stop thinking about it. And then eventually I was like, oh, I do like this. Okay.
It's already burrowed itself into my brain. I highly recommend watching the live performance because that's the one that got me. God, well, you host for a bit. Don't just stand there.
Jesus. But yeah, we gave Noir a new obsession, which is a good thing. We're very excited about it. We recorded the genuine reactions to Noir's first time experiencing Huxley Workman.
I'm so excited.
This makes my Canadian heart so happy in this moment.
Yes.
First off, Friday, you're not in Canada. How did you find this guy?
Fanfiction.net.
Don't say that with shame in your throat.
No. Well, I only say that because it was a Harry Potter fanfic. So that's the only reason for that.
Yeah.
But it was a Harry Potter fanfic. I was 15 years old, and there were lyrics from the song like scattered throughout the fanfic, and I was like, what is this? I've never encountered that before, and so I went and looked it up. So that's That's how I discovered Huxley Workman with Harry Potter fan fiction in high school.
I'm starting to think I missed
Was
out
it
on a
actually
lot.
Jealous of Your Cigarette that was the
Yes.
the fanfiction?
Yep, that's the reason that I was a Mysterious Black Remus Lupin /fic, and that was
That would make sense.
Yeah. So there we go.
It's the werewolf
Oh
angle.
wait, hold on. Nikki says that Kara's read this fanfic. It was a very long time ago, but also I can't imagine if you think that you have read this fanfic, you probably have, because like, how many times could this have possibly come up? A Huxley Workman sung lyric fan fiction about Sirius Black and Remus Lupin. I can't imagine there are that many of them.
I'm just thinking, on the, I guess the topic of fan fiction, Anne Rice passed recently, which means that all the fanfic, this one woman was single-handedly closing the gates of Lestat fanfiction on the rest of the community, and now it's all being released.
Wait, what?
Oh, Anne Rice
was like pretty against fanfic.
Like to the point where her legal team would threaten to sue anybody writing anything so much as fanfiction of any of our vampire fanfiction a lot in general.
Yo, was Anne Rice an asshole?
Yeah, I mean, I think
like I keep getting mixed reports. It's just like
I feel like moderately, but I also don't know. And also, I would like, I shouldn't respond to that. I have no idea.
At the very least, from what I hear, she was terrible to her fans. Yeah. And anybody that like literally wrote fan fiction. Oh, she wasn't transphobic, but was terrible to anybody. Like very litigious. Like
the bar is so
low.
Fucking low.
But like very litigious against like people using any of her properties.
I mean, I guess that's not the worst.
Yeah. Like, you know, I guess that's a creator's prerogative to be like, this is mine and I want to be in control of how it's, you know, expressed and explored and blah, blah, blah. But I also, you know, when you have someone like such a hugely successful world that you've built and people resonate with it to such a degree for decades and decades on end, and find it like formative and want to like, and want to write fan fiction about that. Like it's hard to, I don't know. I guess it's like, I think I see both sides of that one. Cause it's like, of course it's your property and you get to decide if you want people to interface with it in this way or that. And also the fans are like, but I love you.
My favorite.
So it's like, wow.
I remember also like, there's also that sort of fan fiction pipeline that goes through is like, obviously, what was it? The historical domino effect of like the reason why the Black Parade directly leads to 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh God, via like
9/11.
Jesus.
9/11 leads to 50 Shades of Grey because the album Welcome to the Black Parade was written after he saw the Twin Towers fall in New York. And like the My Chemical Romance made Welcome to the Black Parade, which became like a big basis for Twilight, and 50 Shades of Grey is based off of Twilight. And yeah, it's a historical domino.
I think I did not know about the My Chemical Romance to Twilight connection. I'm not well versed in Twilight despite living in Washington. I got married just outside of Forks, and I did not realize it was the weekend before the annual Twilight Festival.
Ooh.
So we left town the day before all the Twihards arrived, and the B&B we were staying at was like, whoa, you got good timing. Like, get into your wedding, get out. Because like, it's just so beautiful out there. And I did not know that I was timing it so close.
The Twihards are a dedicated fan base, and I got nothing but respect for them. They've dealt with a whole lot of shit. So nothing but respect to you Twihards out there. You keep doing your weird thing.
I mean, hey, they're single-handedly keeping the entire economy of Forks, Washington alive. Like,
I mean,
that is a
basically.
podunk town with nothing going on in it except for Twilight tourism. So,
You know, the house they use for Bella's house is an Airbnb, and they have it staged exactly like it was in the movie.
yeah.
And like, there's a Edward cardboard cutout like outside the window or some weird shit. And I'm like, that's pretty fucked up. That's pretty fucked.
We stayed for our wedding. We stayed at this like really nice little farmhouse B&B that we befriended this elderly brother and sister that own like a little adventure store in the woods out there. And they said, oh, you can like, you know, use our property with all the bearded trees and everything for your wedding. We're like, hell yes, beautiful. And then they said, we're friends with the new owners of like our childhood home here in town. And they've turned it into a B&B and you should stay there because it's beautiful. We're like, fantastic. So we stayed in the childhood home of this elderly brother and sister that we had befriended that is now run by this nice, you know, young couple. And we didn't know that it is the Cullen's house. But not from the movie. It is a house in Forks that is exactly as described in the book, but it's not the one they used in the movie. So it's like they have this the Cullen's house, like their mailbox says Cullen on it. Like, it's so wild. And they've got all the like box sets of DVDs and books and stuff in the like oh shoot, hold on. I see that you guys lost me on captions.
Oh, you're all good.
Okay, good.
They have all the graduating hats.
They do on the wall in there. And I didn't understand that. We walked in and Dr. Boyfriend, my husband, was like, oh my God, they have all the hats. And I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I've never consumed any Twilight media, really, just like peripherally from being a person in this world.
I hate that I could explain it.
I didn't know. Yeah, he had to explain it to me. This is where we stayed on our wedding night. And fucking hats in the hallway. And, like, it was so wild. Yeah, it was so not the one from the movie, but like everything about the B&B we stayed in is like, this is the Cullen house. There was like, it was like, what is the doctor's name? Dr. Cullen.
Carlisle.
That's it. There's Dr. Carlisle's office, like at the end of the hall. It said that on the door, Dr. Carlisle's office. I was like, oh, they got like a doctor here. And he was like, no,
honey.
You know what? Surprise! I've been a secret Twilight this whole time.
He's read all of the books and seen all the movies. That is true.
I have.
Here's the question though: is Twilight really that bad, or is it diminished because it is primarily loved by femme-presenting folks?
It's people hate anything that makes women happy.
I'm all over here with my massive collection of romance novels. Like, yeah, deal with it.
Twilight is okay. Because I'm here we go. I'm so sorry to hijack the show for like 5 minutes, but here we go. Twilight is an amazing world where the camera is focused on the dumbest thing in the world.
It's on the wrong thing.
Amazing world building. Like, there's all this super dope lore, and then they're like, let's just watch these two boring, weird people. So
terrible.
You read Twilight for everything not involving Bella and Edward. Even the Carlyles being their weird Mormon self, like, yeah, they have a fucking Confederate soldier in their family. You know what? I don't know where I was going with this. Anita, go back to hosting. I lost the sauce. I don't know where I am anymore.
You're all good. I have a question, Friday. What is the weirdest ingredient that you've put into a tea?
Well, weird is subjective.
That's true.
Gosh. I don't know. And you know what? Honestly, I get a little finicky about labeling
that's true.
consumables as weird, Because I feel like it's regionally and ethnically othering, and I think that it's easy to do that in like food and beverage, but I also think it's like problematic to be like, oh, that's so weird. So anyway, like I feel like I know what you mean, like maybe most like unexpected
or interesting, I suppose.
Yeah.
We can
well, I think right now I'm the most excited about the Serrano chili flakes I just brought on that go in the Scorpio tea. It had to be Serrano specifically. I'm half Mexican. I'm a really big like chili nerd. Like different kinds of chilies have totally different personalities. I think we can all agree on this. And it had to be Serrano specifically. So I went and I found like air dried flaked Serrano chili, and it's magical. I think probably things that people don't expect to see in their tea, or at least didn't when I started to do them, but I think are a little more common now, are, you know, like sprinkles and like edible glitter and stuff like that. I get the most excited about like, oh, we're bringing in old man's beard. It's a kind of lichen.
Ooh, that sounds so cool.
I'm so excited about this. So I've been trying to source wild crafted and sustainably harvested edible mosses and lichens for years. And that's very difficult to do, especially in a way that is through an FDA approved processing center, which is what it has to be for us to legally be able to wholesale it. So there's like there's a bunch of really complicated, like, you know, food safety law stuff that I have to deal with. And edible mosses and lichens are really difficult to find in a government approved kind of way. So just recently, like earlier this week, I found Old Man's Beard through one of my approved suppliers who I know works really ethically and sustainably with their wild crafting practices. So I'm very happy about that. Old Man's Beard is a kind of lichen that looks exactly, it's like kind of swoopy and beard sleeve. And so I will say, preview for the 24 people I can see in chat right now. So Greg at the shop is putting together an extensive, really well thought out, very strange and beautiful, elegant Lord of the Rings collection. We're releasing it in the spring. It's so pretty. It is so pretty. And he is putting so much work into every single one of these teas. Like, they have to be correct for the character or he won't do it. And so when I said I had found lichen, and he said, what kind? And I said, Old Man's Beard. He was like, tree beard tea. I was like, oh shit, yeah, of course. I was just excited about it because I'm a witch, and I was like, mosses and lichens, hedge witch. And he was like, fucking tree beard. And I was like, obviously, man. So yeah, I think that's going to be the debut of that ingredient is going to be in the Lord of the Rings collection in the spring.
So good.
So that's exciting.
Let's go.
I'm gonna follow it up with, what's the most interesting tea that you like ingredient that you've ingested or tasted?
I think everything is so interesting in this world.
I've had fireweed tea, which is really, really good. Yeah. Fireweed's so good. And I've had chaga. Chaga's interesting. Kind of like nutty and cinnamony.
Yeah. We don't carry chaga. We carry reishi in terms of mushroom. I know lion's mane is a very popular mushroom tea as well. I do have fireweed in stock. I haven't put it in anything yet, but I'll probably release it just like as a single ingredient because it's lovely. I have some like on my little tea shelf behind me. I think olive leaf is one of them. Olive leaf, I'm always surprised at how much it does not occur to people to drink olive leaves. And because I grew up drinking them because my grandma was a hippie herbalist and I grew up in Central California where olives are, but it's also like a relatively popular, super old school remedy for cardiac health in the Mediterranean to drink olive leaf tea. And it tastes somewhere between like a really high grade, delicate, complex, like tasting olive oil, the kind that you would dip really good bread into, you know, and like a nice Chinese steamed green tea. It's fascinating.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah. So that's a good one. I think goji berry is another really interesting one because it kind of tastes like if you had a really peppery, full bodied, kind of smooth red table wine, but it was fruit leather. So I like that.
That's so amazing.
So I whenever we get the chance to talk with somebody that specializes in something, I always want to ask them how they react to when what they're specialized is represented in the media. Like have you ever watched something where tea was being explained or shown on screen and you're just like, that's not right?
I mean, probably, but I think it's probably like really silly little things like, oh God, the pinkies out thing is really funny to me. Because anytime the upper class English or French in old, whatever period pieces are shown drinking tea with their pinkies out, I'm like, syphilis. That's a real thing. So in the French courts, syphilis was so rampant and it causes a swelling of the joints. And so syphilitic pinky is a very real symptom. And so if your pinky is out during tea and it's a French court scene from the 1700s, I'm like, oh, you guys syphilis, like, because it was considered really like low class to put your pinkies out. And in British like high society too, the pinky was too phallic because they were uptight as hell. These are the people who like invented tablecloths because they thought table legs were too sexy and it was like scandalous. So like they got some problems, but it was like, you can't, if you have your pinky out, it's super phallic, and that nice young ladies don't do this. So like, curling the pinky underneath, using it as a support for your teacup is much more appropriate. So anytime, like that's one, but that's really more etiquette than like technique. I don't know. I think it still applies. For the most part, when I see tea in media, there's so many different ways to drink tea in this world that it's usually pretty accurately portrayed for somebody,
I'm sorry, this whole time I thought I was being fancy. It's just like I've been drinking tea with a dick out. Like
Yeah, so it was considered by the Brits to be extremely gauche and by the French to be a shameful evidence of syphilis.
Oh no.
Until they reclaimed and rebranded it.
Yeah, and then eventually we got, when in doubt, pinky out. But that's something that started with the lower class because they thought they were emulating the upper class. And they were like, oh, I'm fancy. I drink with my pinky out like the upper class. And the upper class are like, yes, because we're fancy. Not because we literally can't bend our pinkies because the syphilis. Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's true. So I always think that's really funny. It makes me giggle like a 12-year-old. I'm like, I see you. Yeah, like you were just at an orgy with your mistress. Don't lie. So that was going on. Tea history is pretty good. But yeah, no, my favorite example of tea in contemporary media, I'm going to go the opposite direction of what you asked and say one time that's been done so well that I've been like, yes, Sherlock. There was a whole episode in a museum that involved a Yixing clay tea service, ancient Chinese, like a couple thousand-year-old Chinese tea service. And the way that they demonstrated it and the way they talked about the special kind of clay and how it has to be fed with water regularly or else it'll crack and break, and all the ritual around it was so accurately and beautifully done and so respectfully portrayed. I was like, yes, 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 yes. So Sherlock, that's some of the best, most accurate, most respectful representation of like really old school Chinese tea ritual I've ever seen in the media.
And is that the one with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Specifically the episode with a bunch of Chinese acrobats. It was very cool.
Okay.
They had like a circus and it was scary.
Okay. Well, I respect that. Do you watch Critical Role by any chance?
No, I'm daunted because there's so much of it.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm so late to the game. It's like really intimidating. But my teenager, Teacup, is an avid consumer, and they actually designed all of our Critical Role inspired teas that we have. That whole collection was done by my teenager, and they're like really into it.
Because I was about to ask, because season 2 there was a character that was all about dead people tea, and I just want to know what your thoughts on that one.
I think that's lovely. Everything that I know about Caduceus clay and the whole dead people tea thing, I think it's really beautiful. It made me so happy because I also I do have a personal blog that is about like death and death culture and mortality and explorations thereof, which is possibly the most Scorpio thing that like I do in my life. I'm really interested in death, and I have aspirations of death midwifery. I think, I feel very called to that work, and I think I can do a really wonderful job of helping people, ease through the death and dying process and all of that. Right. So I'm a big fan of the concept of death as, a precursor for rebirth, and destruction as a way to feed regeneration and things like that. So like mushrooms really vibe with me in a big way, the whole like decomposing and then providing fuel, nutrient cycling. Yeah. So the idea of tea that is made from a plant that grows on someone's grave, I think is so romantic and respectful and beautiful. And like, what a wonderful way to honor somebody. I think it's wonderful. So yeah, my kid was explaining to me about this, and I was like,
I'm very glad to get your perspective on that, because I thought it was really cool too. Especially there's a spell that like prompts that the whole thing was just incredibly dope, and I was very, very excited to ask you that one.
Yeah, I think death and tea is kind of my whole brand over here.
Well, you said something that caught me. You're a Scorpio?
Yes. Yeah, I've got a high percentage of Scorpio in my chart overall. Yeah.
You are the nicest Scorpio
we get a bad rap.
No, it's accurate.
Here's the thing, is that Scorpios will come off as prickly at first blush, until you like until like you get to like that sort of comfortable space.
I feel like the Scorpio stereotype is very much one of being like sharp, right? One of being like the stabby, right? The tail. And I don't think that's unwarranted. I think that it's misconstrued. I think if you like examine the Scorpio archetype more deeply, I really think that it's more about intensity than it is about sharpness. And I think there's a distinction between those things. It is certainly true that I despise small talk, and I just kind of don't do that. When I first meet someone, I'm like, we're talking like intense laser focus, tell me everything about like your childhood traumas and like what you dreamed about this morning and the last thing you ate. And like, I need to know your soul as soon as I meet you. Yeah. So that's very true. And I've had a lot of people in my life tell me that I am too much, or that I'm too intense, or whatever. And I just decided to stop listening to that a couple of years ago, because I'm pretty awesome. And and like if I'm too much for somebody, then clearly we just don't click, and that's okay. And that's nobody's fault. And it doesn't need to be a me problem, or it doesn't need to be a them problem. We can just not interface. But I don't know, I've lately really come to enjoy my intensity and depth. And I feel like there is a thing about Scorpios too, where like there isn't a fear or a hesitation about going really dark really quickly, like just full depth plumbing of everything. Like I just want to know every single thing about everyone, and I want to feel it. I want to feel everyone's feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I want to overlay my experience with someone else's experience until I can't see the difference between them. And that's a lot for some people. So I definitely resonate with the Scorpio archetype in terms of intensity, and particularly, so Scorpio's whole thing is like, the stereotype is like being really sharp and also like pretty morbid and also kind of slutty. And I'm like, sure. Yeah. But like in a nice way, like, I'm like, I hate small talk, and I love talking about really intense, deep things. And I think that where people get the like Scorpios are slutty, nosy goths thing, which like, sure. It's, there's this immediate draw to very intense intimacy, like right off the bat. It freaks people out, and there's also like a fascination with like destruction and creation cycles, like I was just talking about. I think that's a common thing too. Yeah.
And I also think that if you actually look at scorpions as a species, like as like a creature in the world, certain species of Scorpio, I believe they actually carry their babies on their back, which I think that a lot of people like, just that imagery is also sort of off-putting, which can also feed into that whole like,
oh, I think it's sweet.
It is absolutely like the sweetest thing in the world, but it's definitely something that certain individuals could find like, right? And
it's two scorpions stacked on top of each other.
Several scorpions stacked on top of each other, which like is it's definitely like a beautiful like motherly image but taken the wrong way. And that's sort of like also a little bit of, it's a little bit of my whole thing feeding into that as well. Where it's like my pseudo witchy interpretation of the sign.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I also think there's really something to be said for not just looking at someone's sun sign and thinking that that's at all going to be a total picture of, because I mean, that's not enough information. Yeah, I'm a pretty big astrology nerd, but like, I mean, you can't just look at someone's sun sign and be like, I understand you. That's not
I'm a Sagittarius sun, but my Taurus moon shows a lot more.
I have a Taurus moon.
Hey.
All I know is that my little middle sibling has been eyeing my kidney ever since they have been.
Is a sibling a Scorpio?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They're just like, hey, how's that kidney doing? Instead of hello. And I'm like, it's still in my body. And they would go, for now.
I love that. That's hilarious. Yeah, I vibe with that sense of humor a lot, actually. That, like, really morbid, like, weird sense of humor really speaks
I literally
to me.
just
Maybe
got my
that's a Scorpio
co-star
thing.
notification for the day.
Ooh, excellent. What weird thing did it say to you? It's always so bizarre. It just like says some esoteric shit and you're like, okay, thanks.
Oh, mine is let yourself find outlets for your grief.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just rude.
Way to fucking call me out, co-star.
Yeah, I like the times when it's like, you know, what is a toaster but electricity waiting to happen, or weird shit like that, and you're like, all right, thanks, I guess. Or like, allow yourself to eclipse yourself or something. You're like, what?
Yeah. Co-star keeps telling me I need to bang my friends, and I'm like, chill, co-star.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that for sure.
Quit making it awkward.
Amazing. Dude, I do really love it when you get like a horoscope thing that is exactly what you want it to say, and you can be like, see, it says, the horoscope says exactly what I like. Yesterday, Dr. Boyfriend got his horoscope, his daily horoscope was like, you need to clean your desk. And I was like, okay, but you do though. But you do though. It's really bad.
At that point, I just throw the whole horoscope away. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Not even the sun and the stars will get me to clean this apartment.
Yeah. I like it when mine is like, you need to take a day off. And I'm like,
hell yeah.
Do you want to do my job? Do you want to raise my kid? I don't think so.
So have you done it, like, because I know you're in the TTRPG community. Have you done any actual plays, or are you thinking about doing any actual plays?
Not recently, but I will be. Nikki is actually bringing me into Dragon Day.
Dragon Day.
Next month. It's in January or February.
January.
Okay. It's like I can't remember unless I'm actually looking at my calendar. Yeah, and like I got to do some like cool Jasper's Game Day stuff in the past, which is fun. I got to do JoshCon last year, which was very fun. Yeah, I think that was actually my first one that I got to do. And then over on Lisa Penrose's channel for a while, I was doing we had this horror series that we did where we were hopping systems but continuing on with like similar characters. So we had us like a little system crawl going on where we started with Good Society, and we played like a child detective, like vampire horror supernatural game set in Good Society, which if you don't know is a Jane Austen like manners and society kind of an RPG. And so we took that and overlaid it with like child detective murder mystery supernatural stuff, and called The Haunting of Good Society, and it was super creepy. And TK DM'd that, and it was so creepy because they're like the creepiest fucker alive, and it was so creepy. And then the sequel we did, which featured one of like the three sisters of this child detective agency, we played in 10 Candles, and so it was myself and Lisa and TK and Eugenio, and we're all playing this game, and it was the best thing of all time, and I loved it.
That is a solid squad right there, too.
It really is.
God.
Absolutely. I know. I felt like I was sitting at the cool kids table. I was like, really, and me? This is great. Yeah. And so it turns out I can definitely bring the creepy. I was concerned that I couldn't keep up with them, but there were a lot of things that made Lisa just be like, what? No. I was like, okay, cool. I think this is my genre.
Your brand is teen nerd and death cycles. You've got the creepy.
That's true. Yeah, and I'm not afraid to get like really weird and uncomfortable. So it worked out. Yeah, and then tea season hit, and I've just been at work all day, every day. I've been pulling like 13-hour shifts at the tea shop like all the time. So I haven't really had time. I know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us this morning.
I know. I'm so glad. This is honestly like the only stream that I'm doing this month. It's like there's just no time. I keep making schedules for my own channel and then being like, oh, actually, psych, can't, no energy. So yeah, I do miss it, and I miss gaming a lot, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it. But I think for me, I just cannot do Q4 gaming because of work, because my work is so intensely seasonal. So yeah that's okay. I'll come back. Don't forget about me, everybody.
They won't.
Good. I promise to make it weird. Invite me to your games. I'll make it so weird.
So man, TK Eugenio, like that is a squad. I have to ask, are you one of those people that like dress up when you do your streams, or are you more
mildly? I like accessorize and like maybe like choose a specific like pair of earrings and shade of lipstick that is like kind of aesthetically on on brand. But other than that, no, not really. I try to like keep with the aesthetic flow, but like full dress up is not a thing that I have as of yet bothered to put the energy into. I like it when other people do. I'm always like, whoa, we're doing that. Yeah.
I feel that for sure. I mean, you got to play with an amazing table. But now I have to ask
here we go.
Because we are on the dark roast.
Ooh. Okay.
I have to ask you about the other side of things. You see, in the TTRPG community, if you've played long enough, you'll probably have had the experience of playing with that guy, which is a black hole of fun at the table. Somebody who, if they were yeeted into the sun, your enjoyment of the game would increase tenfold. So Friday, I have to ask, have you played with that guy?
I've played with a that guy. I think the most negative table experience that I have had is probably the like, okay, so I do play in Latin spaces a lot, right? I'm
right.
I'm Chicana. I play a lot of like Latinx games, and I have encountered, unfortunately, the Latiner than thou, which for those of us in the diaspora, it's like, come man, there's such a an unfortunate trend of like Latinx people being like, okay, but I'm more Latin than you are. I'm a real like Latino or whatever. Like I actually speak Spanish, things like that. And the rest of us are like, oh man, I already got an identity struggle. Like, don't do this to me. So I have encountered that, and that is a real bummer. When you are playing a game and you're trying to all just be like, yay, we all have, a kind of common sort of background, but obviously very different. Cause like, I mean, even if like you're all, even if you're all Chicana, every household has its own little ecosystem and its own culture. And so it's like in the diaspora, it's like, there is no complete common experience. And also there's no hierarchy, asshole. Like, like, so, and especially when people come into a space and they're like, well, I actually speak Spanish. It's like, ouch. Some of us were raised to assimilate on purpose for safety. So fuck you, So that's a thing that I've encountered that has been a real bummer. And I've just had to like grit my teeth and be like, it's not about me. This is clearly not a me issue. Like, I don't need to take this personally. This is not my damage.
This is definitely a them problem, not a you problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
they brought that energy to the table. Ugh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that has happened. Fortunately, I have mostly just played really groovy tables with really groovy people, and
Good.
yeah, yeah, I think I've been very fortunate. So just every now and again, there'll be someone at a table where I'm like, ugh, we don't have to be like this. Can we just be cool and support each other instead of being in competition, like over, who belongs here the most? Come on.
She like what that doesn't even have a spot at the table. Like there's no reason that should be even a thing. And who should I feel that hard? I feel for y'all. That sucks.
I hate.
Oh, you have.
I hate asking. But what does that guy taste like? That sounds so weird. It sounds so weird to ask, and I'm sorry.
No. It's okay. That guy energy.
That guy energy.
Boo to you! How dare!
I hate myself for asking this question, but I'm morbidly curious.
I'm gonna tell you. It's warm Mountain Dew boiled with crushed garlic in it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds.
Oh, that almost made me vomit.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gross.
Mm-hmm. Nikki is asking, what is it that we're talking about? That guy. Energy. That guy at the table.
You just got that guy flavor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. It is very distinctly, very clearly Mountain Dew that has been brought to a boil with minced garlic like in it and then cooled down to just warm.
Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah, is this so fun to have superpowers? I get to literally taste that in my mouth when we talk about this.
I'm so sorry.
It's my normal. Honestly, it's this is just how I've always lived my life since I was born. So yeah.
Oh, that's so gross. I'm sorry. Oh.
Yeah. It's not, I'm like fighting a little like.
Ooh, thanks, Anita. Thank you for that.
Why did I do that? I apologize so sincerely.
So yeah, terrible. A general rule is that things that have negative connotations or feelings attached to them will taste terrible. That's just generally how the programming works. So if you ask me how something that is not nice tastes, it's probably going to be fucking gross.
Oh, we gotta talk about something that tastes good again.
No, I don't know if I trust you, Anita. I think you would.
Never
I was just imagining so in Adventure Time, the speaking voice of Princess Bubblegum does actually taste like cotton candy. So that's
okay.
Nice.
There's a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a weird one. I'm gonna ask for a weird flavor.
Do it. Yep.
So weird. Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man. Bubblegum, but specifically the small like gum balls. That's it. Gum balls. With the candy shell on the outside, and that moment that you like the
eyes from the
on the ice cream guy. Yeah,
cream?
Like those.
That's what I was exactly
the eyeballs
that.
there. That's what Spider-Man tastes like. And also I have a really hard time saying a Spider-Man every time. A Spider-Man. It tastes like that, but specifically that moment when you crunch and it makes the cracking candy shell noise.
All
and
the flavor comes out. Yeah, a
Spider-Man.
That's exactly what I was imagining.
Awesome. That is a good one. I do like Spider-Man.
What is your favorite ice cream? I know it's a random question. Like the ice cream truck comes by. Ice cream truck comes by. You got $5. What are you picking?
Choco Taco.
That's a good one. Good one.
Excellent choice.
Choco Taco. That's if we're talking ice cream truck ice creams. If we're talking like in the world, it might be a different thing. But that's Choco Taco.
How about you,
Noir? For my ice cream truck ice cream, I gotta go with strawberry shortcake.
Ooh.
The crumbs around there. I wish I could just have a bowl of the crumbs.
I could. That's I know how to make that. I have a recipe in my brain for just the crumbs that go on the outside of that.
And I could just put like cold cream on there. Just eat that all day.
Yeah.
You would never see me again.
Oh yeah, that's it.
The push-up Kirby style. That's a good choice too.
Oh yeah, the push pops.
Push pops. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, when I was a kid back on the farm, we used to walk 3 miles into town on the gravel road to Treat's grocery store, the only grocery store in my town, because they had the Flintstones push pops.
Oh, the orange Flintstones.
The orange was God tier.
Go.
Yep. So that was the childhood thing. Walk like an hour and a half into town on the gravel road to get the Flintstones orange push pops.
There is a wrong answer to the ice cream truck question, and the wrong answer are the rocket pops.
I was about to say the rocket pops.
Yeah.
Is that what you?
That was literally what I was thinking. No, it's not what I was.
That's
thinking.
your answer.
I think
like that's embarrassing.
Okay. Creamsicles those are good. Okay. Those are good.
Yeah, classic.
But I don't trust anybody who picks those red, white, and blue rocket pops.
No, unless they are putting them in a festive 4th of July cocktail, which I have seen. I'm in Seattle. We have a lot of like douchey hipster bars that do shit like that. You're in Chicago, you know about it.
Yeah, we got them. We got some of them.
Yeah, totally.
They have hipster offs whenever they meet.
Yeah.
God, it's all they're all in Pilsen. We just put them in one town, and we just let them make Malort.
What does that mean?
Have you ever had you haven't had Malort.
I don't know what that is. I've never encountered that.
Malort is a Chicago booze. That if a bitter divorce had a flavor, it would be Malort. You drink it and it makes you want to fight your dad.
Malort is the Swedish word for wormwood. The key ingredient is Bask, which is a bitter type Swedish brownvin. So it's like the best way that I could describe the flavor profile is orange peels doused in the kind of bug spray that you would have during a camping trip.
Yeah, it takes the weakness out of your body.
It is I like an orange peel.
Okay.
It's just extremely bitter.
It's potent.
And then when you think it's done being bitter, it makes you regret thinking that it was done being bitter.
Okay.
I would give. What I would give to get I need to see you a bottle of Malort. I need to see you drink some Malort.
Yeah, I'm down. I really like experiencing new flavors. It's, as you know, it's how I interface with the world. It's how I understand things, is to put it in my mouth. So yes, it is my goal to taste every single thing. It's a lofty one, but that's when I travel, I'm like, what have I never tried before? That's what I'm going to do. So yes, I might like it.
I mean, I love it. Like I love it, but it took me a while.
Yeah, I actually really like the bitter medicinal flavors a lot. Like, it's some of my favorite stuff.
I actually think you might like Malort.
You might be one of the few people that if
The
you look on
one.
YouTube. If you look at Malort face on YouTube, you'll see a bunch of people drinking
the face
and they make the face.
There is a clip on Mark's channel of me drinking Malort for the first time.
Oh, wonderful! I love
when I went to visit them, and oh my!
You tried not to make the face. You tried to soldier
up.
I
was gonna just power through. I powered through. Then
champion.
We kept having to do shots.
What is the most overwhelming flavor you've ever encountered?
Like just potency?
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe buzz buttons, but that's almost cheating because it's basically an analgesic. It just numbs your mouth. So there's like a chemical reason that it would be overwhelming. But it's a tiny little flower. I think they might be in the daisy family, and when you bite them, it feels like your mouth is being electrocuted. Like it fizzles and it's like cold. And it does numb your tongue. And my dude Greg at the shop got some in because he wanted to fuck around with them. And they're kind of popular in the craft cocktail scene here. You muddle them into the drink and it like does this weird like fizzy electrical thing in your mouth.
Yeah.
So that was pretty wild, and it made me really sad. It was a sad experience so the thing with language and flavor are so tied in together for me. I taste all words, but also if I can't taste anything, my language centers kind of break down a little bit. I really struggle. And especially if flavors are muted or muddied or covered up, I have a difficult time verbalizing. There have been times that I've had like a really bad cold and I can't smell anything. And I find that I get my words all mixed up because like something will taste or smell very similar to a different word that means a different thing. And my brain is like, I think this guy, I don't know. So like, I'll say nonsense, or I'll just occasionally be completely nonverbal. I just can't make it go. Right. So yeah. And so when I had that buzz button in my mouth, it confused my mouth so much. I did actually start crying. So poor Greg was like, oh shit, I'm sorry. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. Like it was like if you took all the words in your head and just smushed them together. Yeah. So that was terrible. And I did actually cry. I'm like almost crying. I think it was such a bad experience. It was so sad. Yeah. So that was a lot. Yeah. The sensory processing issues, along with just a straight up cross wiring of senses. Sometimes you're like, oh no, it's overwhelming. Humans weren't meant to function like this. So yeah, oh my gosh, Nikki is having like solidarity over there. I cried once because I didn't like the texture of an apple I bit into. Word. Yeah.
Or like, so how do you deal with hot stuff? Like your mama?
Like spicy.
Hey, that's where I get it from. No, I'm kidding. I look like a chicken nugget. So I mean, like hot sauce, like
I love.
Like if you had like the bomb hot sauce, how would you react to that?
Well, I do eat a lot of chilies. Mexican. It's like half my diet is like covered in hot sauce. I actually do put Tapatio in my drinking water. That is a real Friday fact. I like my drinking water best with crushed cilantro, a slice of lime. Hey, Cholula, is that the lime chili one or the garlic lime?
Lime.
Or garlic chili.
Chili lime.
Lime, yeah, cool. Nice. I was like, I see the green on that label. That one is so good. I like it on shrimp. Yeah, so like, I mean, I like to put Tapatio, lime, and cilantro into my drinking water. I carry a bottle of Tapatio and one of like tahini with me in my purse. Just in case.
Tahini's so good.
So good, I know. I put that in my drinking water sometimes too. That's electrolytes, baby. Yeah, so I think when I have something that's like too spicy for my palate, I don't know, it's like I just get really excited. For some reason that's different. The like numbing, buzzing, electric analgesic effect made me want to cry, and it smashed all the words in my entire life together into one place, and it was very overwhelming. But heat, like chili heat, spices and hot sauces and things like that, I just get really excited. It's like, you know, when you have an idea and it's like, you get that like brat face where you're like, that's how I feel all on my insides when I eat something that's just a little too spicy for me. I'm like, oh.
I want to see you go on hot ones. I want to see you take down those hot sauces.
It would get so weird. It would get so weird. Yeah, it would get really weird. I might just like start yelling random words, to be honest with you. I might get really too excited and just like yell stuff. I don't know. It would not be boring. I can tell you that. But yeah, it's like I think cold things make me sad, and warm things make me like kind of mischievous monster excited. So those are the two sides of the Friday spectrum.
Hot sauce is your gremlin food. It is your gremlin fuel. Oh no.
It is, yes. I'm just like, aha. Oh, you bring me spices, I shall do you mischief. Ha. Yeah, that's pretty much. I get too excited and like beastie.
I love that you understand yourself enough to know that. I have no idea what makes me go other than booze.
Raccoon videos and otter videos.
Oh, like fair enough.
Those make me happy.
Yeah.
Those take
Totally. Salsa verde, you know it. Oh my gosh, I have the best salsa verde recipe. My mom had me make it for her wedding. This is the funniest thing. So my mother, Dr. Elliott, is a literal mad scientist, like by profession. She actually is. And she was getting married and she was having a tie-dye themed wedding, her second wedding in her backyard a few years ago, tie-dye themed wedding. She's a weird old hippie. And so I baked the cake and it was like the classic, like white, pipe tiered, whatever, but you slice into it and it was all tie-dye on the inside. So that was very cool. Yes. And my mother, who is like really very California Mexican in the most delightful way, where she just assumes everyone else also is. And it's really funny. She was like, yeah, so for the wedding reception, we want to do like an all-American backyard barbecue. And I was like, great, no problem. And she was like, so we're thinking like chili. And I was like, yeah. What kind? She was like, well, obviously chili verde con puerco. It's the only kind. I was like, oh. And she's like, homemade tortillas. I want tamales. I want your mole. I was like, I said, I thought you want an all-American backyard barbecue. And she was like, yeah.
I support that.
I mean, yeah.
I support that. We take in America.
Specific category of American. Yeah, definitely. You're not wrong. And also it's like, yeah, her family is like Northern Mexican. So like before California was California, she had family members there when it was still Mexico. So it's like, yeah, sure. But yeah, so every time I think about chili verde, I always think about that. And I'm like, oh. Her like very white husband was like, I got the grill set up. And I was like, aw, dude, we both misunderstood.
Yo,
we misunderstood the assignment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was basically an asada, but
Blue Puerto Rico's Mexican barbecues are their own thing. I don't know about 100%. California Mexican buddies, but like I know my Chicago Mexican buddies. You don't get to leave. No. Like once the party kicks off, you're stuck. Mm-hmm. Like I tried to leave, they're like, here's another plate and another drink. Sit down.
Yeah. Sit down, or if you're getting up, you better be dancing. Like that's
and I don't dance. I was just eating.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's honestly your job.
But would you want to?
Like that.
Nikki's like, why would you want to? Because it was 4 in the fucking morning.
Snack time. Thank you very much.
That is snack o'clock.
Yeah.
I was like, I got shit. I was like, I got shit to do tomorrow. They're like, no, you don't.
No, you don't. You're gonna be digesting tomorrow. That's it. I saw Nikki asked in the chat if my mother has synesthesia. No. Nope. Or if she does, she's just decided that is just how all human brains work. And so it's never come up. No, but I don't know why this felt related. She did threaten to boil a pond in my yard the other day. So she doesn't have synesthesia, but she's a real weirdo. She's my mother, Dr.
Scientist.
Elliott. Yeah. I was saying, hey, we just moved into this new place, which it's on the edge of a swamp. My house is on the edge of a protected wetland. So like my nearest neighbors are like bullfrogs and blue herons. It's lovely. There's also 5 million banana slugs everywhere here. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty gross. Sometimes I'll go in the kitchen in the middle of the night because 4 a.m. is snack time, as we've established. And there's just like a slug on the floor. And I'm like, get out of here. What are you doing? But there's like a pond. And I was saying, oh, we really like this pond. There's all these like beautiful like bullfrogs in there and they're so loud and we really love it. And my mom said to me, we're at the dinner table at her house and she said, those are probably invasive bullfrogs. We could boil the pond and get rid of them. I was like, what? This is just how this woman talks. I was like, you can't just go boiling ponds, Mom. And she was like, no, I literally can. I have the equipment. I'll do it. Please do not. Yeah, she has the equipment to boil any pond she wants. And then my stepdad was like, you better not boil our pond in the backyard. And my mom was all picking at her salad. She got so petulant. She was like, I could.
What equipment does one even use to boil a pond?
A pond boiler noir. What do you think? No, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, I think it's like a sous vide kind of machine, but like big and funded by the government. So
out there just assassinating frogs.
Yeah, only the invasive ones. She was like, settle down. The native population will just come back. Please do not come to my house and boil my pond, mother.
I don't know that that's how that works. I don't know that's how any of that works.
You know, it is. And also, please do not come to my house and boil my pond with my favorite frogs in it, Mom. Come on. Like, this is just, yeah, this woman is ridiculous. Yeah. I don't know.
So much.
Yeah, Dr. Elliott, literal mad scientist.
So you have Dr. Elliott and Dr. Boyfriend.
Yes, and then my father is also Dr. Elliott.
Dr. Elliott, and Doctor.
Yeah, that's who I'm surrounded by over here. Yeah, my father has his PhDs in theoretical math and computer science. He is a theoretical mathematician who is also a nonviolent communications counselor. So he's all touchy-feely kumbayas and fractals and theoretical, fifth dimensional, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, he's an actual space alien, I'm convinced.
My friend group is so dumb in comparison. I'm gonna need some of y'all to step it up in my friends group.
You could just like be friends with my parents. They're like way cooler than I am.
Lies.
There you go.
Here's the thing though. If your mom goes, "Hey, Noir, you want to boil a pond?" I'm gonna say yes. I know myself.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like all the time also like steaming dirt to kill various protozoal, invaders and things like that. Like she's a forest pathologist. So she does weird mad science shit all the time.
She found what she loves, which is just killing critters.
Yeah. I met up with my mother for curry one day a couple of years ago. She pulls into the parking lot of this Indian restaurant and she was like, "Hey, you want to see something?" And opens her trunk of her car. Which is like she always has like weird like retired police cars that someone like painted matte black and she bought at an auction and like weird shit.
What is your mom on?
I don't. She's high on life, man. And she like opens the trunk and it's full of baby rhododendrons. And I was like, neat. And she said, "These are my babies. If all goes according to plan, they'll all be dead in a week." And just like closed the trunk and then we went and ate curry. So I don't know.
If you had to,
I don't know
if
how.
you had to stand out your mom, what would you do? Like as a D&D character?
Oh shit!
Artificers?
I mean, like maybe.
An artificer druid?
Right? Yeah. But it's like, so my mom, she is a plant doctor. Like she's a pathologist. So her job is to identify and figure out cures for plant diseases. But she really, really likes the part where she has to do samples where she on purpose diseases a bunch of baby plants. Like she really likes the destructive, like fucked up side of her job a lot. So yeah, I think artificer druid, she's got all sorts of cool equipment and shit. And yeah. That's
raised a druid, grew up to be an artificer.
Your mom is exacting revenge on nature for some slight that we don't know. I don't know how to tell you this. I think your mom might be a supervillain.
I think she might be, but she's like really cool and a super good cook. So, and she's like more obsessed with Pink Floyd than anyone I've ever met in my life. So I feel like she's got some very nice qualities.
Okay, so tell me your mom smokes without telling me your mom smokes.
She was raised in Berkeley, California in the 60s and 70s. And her whole thing when she was a kid was being like the bad Catholic girl. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would definitely smoke a bong with your mom.
Yeah, no doubt. It would be a good time. My mom orders drinks at a bar based on how fun they are to say. I took my mother out for a drink one time and she ended up drinking Two Arrogant Bastards and an Adios Motherfucker, and then we like vandalized some signs in the neighborhood.
Yo, Adios Motherfuckers are my shit.
Yeah, she had one.
My God.
She's like 5'3", okay? It was a really wild night.
Let's have
2
a look.
inches taller than your mom. At an Adios Motherfucker?
Vodka, rum, tequila, gin,
it's like everything plus Sprite.
Well, it's basically a Long
Sweet
Island iced tea with blue curacao in it, right?
Yeah.
Like, essentially, yeah.
Sweet and sour. Yeah, it is a It is a Long Island iced tea with blue curacao and Sprite instead of Coke.
Yeah.
Yep. She didn't know what it was. She just ordered it because she heard someone else say it, and she was like, "Whoa, yeah." So there we go. Now you all know about my mom.
I had 5 adios motherfuckers in one night.
You maniac.
Fool, I got it. I told you. I told you all about the story. I just never told you about the drink that caused it. This is the night where I got lifted and slammed onto a really nice car.
Oh yeah, you picked a fight.
Yeah, because I was picking a fight. That's why I picked the fight.
It was 5 adios motherfuckers deep.
I was just like, I guess we're
like,
just
that'll do it. Yeah.
Oh my! And the poor guy didn't do anything. I'm glad he won that fight because I deserved it. I was being an asshole. He picked me up. I was in the air. I'm like, oh no, I don't think the fight's going my way. And then, my face was on the hood. I'm like, I've certainly lost. Is this a Pontiac?
Those moments when your life slows down and you really get perspective. When you get lifted up like a child.
You're never more in connection with your brain than when shit is going wrong. Or at least that's how my brain functions. You've got flavors. I've got ass whoopings.
There it is.
That's how I understand the world.
Amazing.
I actually I've been talking with Noir for a while about how they have their own almost different flavor of synesthesia where you can assign different musical notes to people.
Oh.
Yeah, certain people are chords to me. Like when I play chords, they I'm like, oh, that reminds me of this person. I can see them very clearly in my head. Or if I'm walking by somebody, I can kind of hear notes when the more I hang out with them. I don't know if it's actual or anything, but that my brain works that way.
That's cool as hell. And also that sounds like a legitimate form of synesthesia. It can be any kind. There's well over 80 identified forms of synesthesia. It can be literally any association across senses that your brain is these things are the same. These things are interchangeable. These guys go together. And for some people, it's a really, a very solid, very tangible thing. And for other people, it's kind of a little lighter or more inconsistent or more fleeting. And that's totally all part of it. It's not, synesthesia is not an uncommon experience. It's just there's so many different ways and degrees to which it can manifest that people think that it's woo, super, super rare. And it's sure, individual specifics are super, super rare. We're all shiny Pokemon here. But but synesthesia itself is actually really common. It's just kind of, people don't really usually know because it's their normal. So what do you have to compare it to? You know?
It kind of started for me when I would do jam musician stuff. And it's just I would play with one person and I would know okay, I've got to jam with this person. So I would just think all right, where do they usually go? What, how their usual tempo, their usual progressions and all that kind of stuff. And then I haven't been able to stop. So I know okay, you're one of my C major people. That means that I can be safe with you, but you are a D. You're a D minor. I'm gonna leave you alone. It's It's strange.
No, that's awesome. I like that. That's it's if I'm talking to somebody and I get kind of a bitter bile funk on the sides of my tongue underneath, I'm nope, you're bad news. No.
Right? Okay, yeah. I kind of get that musically where I'm just it takes a couple of words exchanged, but I can immediately tell when our notes don't match. It is I probably don't want to talk to you.
Totally. Okay, if I were to tell you that my favorite key is A minor, what is that association?
So A minor is to me, it's a wonderful bridge. in the sense that it's one of the chords that turns things serious. So I'm not trying to be that guy, I promise.
That guy.
Do it. So like this is C. These are the people that I get on with really easily. And G are people that whatever, but A minor, that's when things get serious. And it's also one of my favorite chords because it's so flexible, because you can do very little with it, but it makes it sound more complex than it is. So these are the kind of people that it's just like you want to talk to them because there's a lot to them. Like just it doesn't take much to get them to really go deep.
Yeah.
Like that's A minor right there.
I really like that a lot.
I think I'm what was the one that you told me? I was a B minor 7?
You started, like when we started talking, you were a C. But then you became a B minor 7.
Oh.
And the reason it's a high tension chord that begs for resolution. And this is like when we were like, there was like, there's just the need for something. So it's a waiting chord. It's like there's probably more that I need to understand or figure out about this person. So that means that the relationship isn't done. Like you meet a C person that you like a C, you could just play it once and you're done. Like, or you just mess around with it and enjoy it for as long as you need to, or you could just be done. But like you can't do that with the B7 because it's like, where do we go? Like you can make it more complex, or you give it the rest. So it's just that's it. I feel so goofy talking about, like, this is the kind of conversations I have with my friends. So like yeah, they're just, people are kind of chords to me. Like and I love, like, sometimes I like, there are some people that I don't know how I feel about them, so I'll just noodle around till I find where they are. So yeah, like Pointer said, it needs to be resolved, the B7. So yeah,
that's so cool. Like, I've always been drawn to A minors because I listened to a lot of Vivaldi as a kid, and Vivaldi really leaned into like melancholia in his A minor works, big time. They were like so like soft and sad, and I really found that very intriguing. I like sad things a lot, and I like to explore big feelings, and so I lean into A minor so much in music because it's just, there's something that's, I don't think of it as like a connection. Things are turning serious exactly the way that you phrased it, but I really like that. Like, that clicked for me. I've always thought of it as like a soft, melancholic, like an invitation to exploration of sad things.
Right, like A minor, like, While My Guitar Gently Weeps is literally just A minor and most of its variations.
Okay. Huh.
Like, that's all. It was A minor 6, 7, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean about, like, it doesn't take much to get a new shape out of it.
Yeah.
Or a new,
that's
like,
nice.
feel. Like, the texture of it is so ready to be molded in a new direction. And I personally, there's a lot to A minor that I like. What I like the most is it's the thing that can turn serious, like turn like light into something of substance. Or it can just, like, it can carry a song on its own, basically.
Yeah.
And
I love that. It's like a conversation.
Right. It's just like, where do you want to go with this? Like, if we can do the light, fluffy shit if that's what you want, or if you just spend a little time here and you try something different, we could take this. We could take this like to the floor. Like, so it's a really good chord. I like A minor people. I don't know a lot of them. But I'm best friends with all of the ones that I know. I don't know a lot of B7 people. I'm best friends with all the ones that I know. I hate D's.
Okay.
I hate it's okay. It just sounds fake. Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's like fake happy.
Yeah, fake nice.
Like, everything's all right. Like, come on, get out of here with that.
Yeah. No, I can hear that. That makes so much sense. I love that. I feel like that, like a chord personality analysis just like makes so much freaking sense. Like, I don't know. I love that. It speaks to me more than like any of the astrology shit I've been studying for like my whole life.
D gave me good vibes only, but raised in the country.
Sure.
Like D by itself is to me cringy, but D in the right context, and I that's why I like to compare people to music, because there's no such thing as a bad note or a bad chord. You just need to surround it by the right accompaniment. So that's why, you know, even though I don't like D, with the right group of people, I could love a D. That's gonna get clipped. I don't care.
So say we all.
I could love that kind of personality. But just like I don't know what chord I am. I can't place it. So I don't know what I work with. I just know what gels with me. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you know which chords work with you, you could use like the rule of fifths to figure out what chord you are by process of elimination.
Kinda, but not really.
Well, I mean, you could at least narrow it down.
I could narrow it down. I don't know.
Put that music theory to practice.
I don't want to do the work, because if I find out I'm something like a D, I'm gonna lose my shit.
I don't think you're ready. You don't think you're ready for that kind of.
I don't want to know myself. I want to stay lost in this fog of head empty.
What is a head empty, no thoughts chord?
Ooh.
G. Fuck you. Oh no. Oh, my G. God damn it. I'm an integral part of Wonderwall. Anyway.
You're a certified G.
So that's been this episode of Morning Ritual. Thank you all for joining us. No, we are at the 3.5 hour mark. So I think it's time we land the plane to let everybody go eat. Because I don't know about y'all, but all this talk of food flavors makes me want to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because that's what I have in the house. So we should start all the outros, and we're going to start with you, Anita. Do the hosting thing.
I'm Anita, or Panita, or Critical Misses. You can find me everywhere online at Panita or at Critical Misses. You can find me here Mondays for Kingsguard, Roll20 Spotlight Show. Wednesdays behind the scenes doing production for Blue Ghost, which is Blades in the Dark campaign. Fridays for The Lost Frontier, which is my Star Trek Adventures campaign. That is really starting to heat up, but we're going to be taking a 2-week break on that because the next 2 episodes land on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and I want to give people time to do holiday things. You can also find me here on Morning Ritual, next month, because this is our last of the season of the year. It's our last one before 2022. But yes, that is where you can find me. That is what I do. I will throw it down to my co-host, Noir.
And that's me. Hi, everybody. I'm Noir. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. That's the TTRPGs. I only got one name. That's it. You can find me everywhere. Just put those 3 words together. I'm doing stuff.
Tonight, just don't you have your game on Nat 20?
I have a scheduling cop. We'll talk.
Well,
I'm just air me out. Just air me out in front of everybody.
Sorry. Sorry. I was trying to help.
Jeez, Anita. You break my back. No, I'm just kidding. What was I gonna say? Oh, I was trying to make this a quick outro by saying you just follow me on Twitter to find out what I'm doing. So that's it. Let's go to our guest Friday.
Hi, I'm their guest Friday. I make tea for nerds and taste people's brains and write stuff about death. And that's what I do in this world. Also, I want to be everyone's best friend. So that's the real tea here. You can find me on here and TikTok at Friday Afternoon Tea and all other socials at Friday Tea. And I do cool stuff and drink tea and friends. That's it. That's all I have to say today.
Wow.
Heck yeah. Everybody go check out the tea. It's delicious. It's a good time. And you're supporting an awesome creator. And we're sticking it to the tea circle jerk.
Yeah, we are. Fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys. Seriously. But that is it. We're going to go ahead and raid. Who we raiding?
Ooh, Sam is online. We want to raid
DeLevely. Who we raiding and why is it Sam DeLev?
Because we love one whole Sam.
Yes. They're the Thanos that turned half the universe gay. Let's
true.
Go.
All right, we're going to go on a raid to see the lovely Sam DeLev over at DeLevely. Thank you all so much for stopping by and hanging out and chilling with us today on Friday. Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I don't know where that voice came from.
But until next time, the ritual has concluded. Bye, everybody.
Bye.